at The Athletic of quote-unquote best fits for teams at the trade deadline. So there are 2 Royals mentioned with that. Whether we get to it or not with Joel Penfield, Keith Law updating his top 70 prospects, and Churio's now up to number 23 overall in all of baseball, which is pretty cool for the 19-year-old and how he's pitching. Josh Hammond moves up to number 66 in his rankings in the top 70. So the Royals farm system getting a little bit better. We may bring that up or not, just because you hope that after this trade deadline, the farm system will get a little bit better from that standpoint as well. So Joel Penfield joins us at noon. Coming up at 1 o'clock, we'll see about talking with Mick Schaefer. He's up at training camp, covering the last day of the rookie training camp before the veterans report tonight by midnight, I believe, and then tomorrow a quote-unquote acclimation day, which I think is just hanging out in the sun, just walking around in the heat tomorrow to get
Colorado, and you have to be. You're in Denver with the mountains.
Yeah, you're at Azteca. I was going the same route. You're at Azteca. You got to acclimate to Azteca. Patrick Mahomes getting a vet day. Andy Reid talked about on Friday that Mahomes would practice the first couple days and then have the third day off. So this is not a surprise that Patrick Mahomes is not practicing today. I believe we'll hear from Andy Reid coming up after practice today. We'll get into some Chiefs stuff, but we start with the awful news. I mean, it's the only way to really say it. It's awful news that was breaking about an hour ago involving Eric Bieniemy and Eric Bieniemy's family. And this is now coming from the Loudoun County's Sheriff's Office. This report here that was released a little bit ago today says Loudoun County Sheriff's Office investigating a shooting that occurred on the 20,000 block of North Park Drive in Ashburn on July 26, 2026. At approximately 7:32 p.m., deputies responded to a report of a shooting. Deputies located one adult female suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was transported to a nearby hospital for treatment of serious injuries. Elijah Zion Bieniemy, 27, of Ashburn, was arrested and charged with malicious wounding, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and discharge of a firearm inside of a dwelling. He was transported to the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center where he was held without bond. The investigation is ongoing. There is not believed to be any threat to the public. But Mia Bieniemy was shot in her home last night, and the story first broke, and you hear how awful it is, and then it takes an entirely new step of layers of how awful the situation is, and that is with Elijah Bieniemy, 27 years old, his son, who is charged with 3 felonies, use of a firearm, malicious wounding, and discharging of a firearm within a building. That's the latest. That's what we know about that. Eric Bieniemy's not at practice today. The Chiefs released a statement. They're aware of the situation of what's going on. He'll be tending to his family, which you would fully expect. And I don't know when you return to the Chiefs. That's obviously, secondary and on down the line of the sports aspect outside of the real world aspect of what's going on, which is the information I just gave is all the information that we have. We don't know what took place, why it took place, or anything like that, but it is a terrible situation, and I don't know that there's any way to talk about it other than saying it's an obviously terrible situation, but it's something that Eric Bieniemy is going to have to deal with and figure out in the family side way before the professional side comes into it, and anything with the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward, it's going to be about Bieniemy's family for as long as it needs to be about Bieniemy's family.
Yeah, it's just horrific. It's hard to fathom, honestly. I can't imagine being away from your family, and then when did he find out? How did he find out? When did he know what actually transpired? The first thing you think is, my wife got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out your kid. I cannot imagine what's going through his head right now. And for the Chiefs and him, I don't know how you handle this other than just say, hey, man, as much time as you need, whatever you need.
We'll see you when we see you. You know? I mean, again, all we have is that information. If we have more information, we'll pass it along. There's about 20 minutes left in practice right now there at St. Joe. Then we'll hear from Andy Reid. I don't know that I'll just say this. Andy Reid wasn't scheduled to speak today. And now he's going to talk today. So I'm going to guess that it has to do with the circumstances surrounding what has taken place here now that it's public and it's got out, and Eric Bieniemy is back in Virginia with his family. So we'll hear from Andy Reid at some point today, probably in the first hour here, if not in the second hour, but we will hear from Andy Reid today. We'll play that. We'll bring that to you live when Andy Reid gets to the podium. No easy transition. There's the latest with the Kansas City Chiefs, with what's going on. As I said, today is the last day of the rookie minicamp. The news that came out on Friday, which was the specifics and injuries: Omar Norman Lott is on the PUP list. Rashee Rice has been cleared to practice. It was confusing when Andy Reid said he's been here and he's been rehabbing the whole time and he's been around. But he made it sound like he's been up at St. Joe rehabbing, which was odd. But then he said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes, that, well, Mahomes has been he's been here every day rehabbing. So I don't know if Andy Reid just didn't know what here meant, because I don't think anybody's seen Rashee Rice up in St. Joe at this point. Mansour Delane is still with the shoulder injury and has the no-contact jersey. Gillenborg is still nursing that knee, and Patrick Mahomes has been fully cleared to play. Now, what does fully cleared mean? He's fully cleared to practice, but I don't think he's fully cleared to, hey, it's week 1 right now. If this injury happened a month later, right? I don't think it's Patrick Mahomes is fully cleared, and now September 14th, he's ready to go, and let's get it on against the Denver Broncos and Nick Bonito and that defensive line that'll be coming after Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that would be the case.
I don't know, Jason. I saw him roll left and throw a pass. I think he's golden. I think he's good. It's hard not to get excited. Let's be real. It is hard not to have. I think we all expected this to be the case.
Yeah.
I think we all knew this, but at least for me personally, I was trying to temper expectations.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be let down. Under promise, over deliver.
I always try to do the exact opposite.
Patrick has been over-delivering his entire time in Kansas City, and yet here's another example of him, in my opinion, over-delivering. You never know what it is going to look like, how it's going to look, when he comes back. I know it's training camp. I know it's clips and highlights and all that stuff. But damn, does it feel good to see Patrick Mahomes out there, brace or no brace. And I know we talked to Trent Green about a month ago at his – oh, yeah, you were gone that day. Yeah,
I was gone that day,
and he talked about the because he went through a similar injury.
Oh, yeah.
Trent Green, obviously. And so Trent's was a little different, maybe a little worse, but about the brace. And I remember him saying if he wears a brace, Trent thinks it's actually good for the mental side of things. Because for him, it was, oh, I'm wearing a brace. I have confidence that this is going to protect me. And so seeing Patrick out there, rolling in the brace, doing all the things that we see Patrick do, again, rolling left, I know it's, again, we've all seen it on Twitter. I get it. We've all seen this. Yeah. But how natural and smooth it looks, it has brought me back to that day of Trent going, yeah, when he's wearing that brace, he's going to feel more comfortable because the mental side is, that's protecting me now.
Well, I've tried to go back to, the timeline of this whole thing. He gets injured, what week was that? 13, 14?
Well, it was 3 weeks after, so 18, 17,
It was
15.
a Chargers game. 15. And the ACL recovery timeline is 9 to 12 months, and opening night would put him right around 9 months, if not right under that. So I do find it funny that there are a lot of people going, well, how did this actually happen? When it is a quick timeline, it's probably the earliest you can come back from an injury like this significant. But the Chiefs are also, at least from what I've seen the last decade plus, they slow play this a lot. They don't rush guys back. And to hear Andy Reid say, he's got no limitations. He's full go. He can participate in all these type of things. It really just makes you marvel at this recovery process, the work he had to do through rehab. We shouldn't be surprised. It's Patrick Mahomes. If there was any guy to overcome those odds, it was going to be him. But it's weird. I thought I was going to have this timidness, this anxiety about him being out there and this full go and he's running around and stuff. But if he's full go, he's full go. You're always going to have in the back of your mind, oh, injuries can happen. But if a doctor says he's got no limitations here, then we shouldn't expect Patrick Mahomes or this offense to have any limitations, even with the knee brace.
He talked on Friday, and he discussed the road that it's taken to finally getting cleared to fully practice.
It's a lot of hard work and just day to day, just continuing to do it over and over again. It was always the goal to be able to practice when we got to training camp, and so we've kind of hit that next step, and now it's just going to be about building and keep getting better and better, and so that whenever the regular season comes around, I can try to be available and ready to play.
When did you know for sure that you were going to be able to practice the first day?
Like 2 days ago. So I was able to go down and meet with Dr. Cooper and just kind of go through the stuff like that, and then him seeing the numbers and stuff that I've been putting up. He gave him the comfortability to let me go out there and be fully cleared to practice, which, I mean, I don't get hit, so that's one part of it, but it's still good to be out there and have bodies around and being able to go through and run the offense.
It's so funny, like when we follow this throughout minicamp and the OTAs, it felt like when Andy Reid was talking or others were talking, it felt like this was going to be like, oh, he's going to be fully cleared to practice training camp. Yeah, I mean, he's on pace and he's going to be full. So when it was announced that Patrick Mahomes was fully cleared to participate in training camp, it didn't come as like all that newsworthy to me, other than another brick in the wall of like, this guy is built differently, right? I mean, we know the knee injury, he dislocates his kneecap, he misses 2 weeks. He plays, a week after a severe high ankle sprain and then plays in the Super Bowl, wins those games on that ankle. So we know that there's some different maybe pain tolerance, ability to recover, how quickly he does those things. But then you find out that, well, he was actually cleared to practice 2 days ago, like Wednesday. So when the news came out that, hey, he's been fully cleared to practice, that was more newsworthy than what I gave it at the time, because he hadn't been specifically at that point fully cleared to practice until he got that okay. Let's play clip number 5 here, Michael. Patrick Mahomes talked about getting fully cleared, that he had to go through and show that he could run and cut and change directions. That's what makes it a little more significant to me, other than, oh, he rolled left, like we're joking about. Yeah. He rolled left and on his knee brace and threw the ball. Whee!
It did look good, though.
Yeah. But the fact that running, cutting, changing directions, all of those things had to be shown that he had the ability to do that before he was cleared.
I mean, I had to. I mean, that's stuff I had to prove to the doctors and to the coaches and everybody like that to be at this point. And so it's a long process. The process isn't over. It'll be something I'll probably deal with for the next few years of my career and throughout the rest of my career. But you have to stay on top of that stuff. But I feel comfortable now being able to go out there and run the offense the way the offense is supposed to be ran.
So that include you wearing a brace probably all season, or would you have hoped to shed it at some point?
There isn't really a plan for it. I'm going to start off with it just because I've worn it before, and I feel comfortable with it. So that's kind of where we will start. But it's not like I've been told I have to wear it or how long I have to wear it. It's just going to be my comfortability, how I feel. But I will start with it on just because I feel like I can still move and be myself with it. I play with it in college, and then we'll just see where we go from there.
So he's had a brace before. Let's play clip number 6, and then we'll take a break, and we'll hear from Andy Reid pretty quickly. Here's clip number 6, Michael. And this I thought was interesting because he was asked, you wore the brace before, so can you draw on past experience from a knee injury and the mental side of it, and when you become fully confident that knee's going to hold up?
What I think of most is when I dislocated my knee. We played in that Titans game a few weeks later, and I felt healthy and everything like that. And I have that throw where I jump and throw the ball, and it looks cool, but I actually did it because I was trying to get my knee out of there. So it's just little things like that. You just have to build that confidence back. But like I said, I'm glad I get to do that from the day one of training camp. I didn't want to have to get only a couple weeks of practice in and then have to go play in a game. I wanted to build it up, and how training camp goes is we gradually build. And so I think that'll gradually help me kind of get back to where I need to be.
Patrick, when you mentioned that Titans play, when was it where you felt like you weren't maybe cautious about that?
I think after that play, it's like I showed that I could be athletic. I could jump off the knee that I had injured, and that I could still make plays that I've always made. And so, um, you'll never know until you get out there and you get hit and you make plays. That's just kind of part of it. But I trust the process that I've been through. I feel amazing, and I just got to keep continuing with that. And then I'll take that first hit just like you do every regular season. And then you go back to playing football, the game you love.
Didn't realize at the time the significance of that throw. If you remember, that was the touchdown to McCole Hardman against the Titans when he jumped and threw it, put the Chiefs up by 9 in the fourth quarter in a game they would lose with that final drive by Ryan Tannehill. But a significant play for Patrick Mahomes, that jump throw to McCole Hardman is when he finally felt comfortable. That was in the fourth quarter of that game, by the way. So he went through the first 3 quarters and, as he said, didn't really feel all that comfortable. And, in fact, he jumped just to get his knee out of the way. And at that point, he was like, all right, let's go play ball. So we'll see when week 1 comes up, September 14th, against the Broncos, if he's out there. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll also get in defensive end. The issue for the Chiefs may have gotten even worse than what it was heading into the training camp with an injury on Saturday to Ethan Downs, depending on how long he's out. The Chiefs have real questions already about who was going to be defensive end number 4. Now they have questions about who's going to be defensive end number 4 and maybe even 5 at this point if Ethan Downs is going to miss a lot of time. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you happen to have symptoms that could be related to low testosterone, well, Heartland Men's Health can help. Some of those symptoms could be an energy level that isn't up to where it used to be. Maybe you're going to the gym and you're not seeing those results. Maybe you don't even have the motivation to go to the gym. You're not sleeping as well. Some of those things can be related to low testosterone. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes, and then a licensed medical provider will review the results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's $99, includes medical consult, T and PSA test, and if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. And along with the testosterone, Heartland Men's Health is helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. Heartland Men's Health successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us. Joel Penfield coming up at noon. Mick Schaefer in the 1 o'clock hour. Chiefs wrapping up practice. We will hear from Andy Reid in just a little bit. When he gets to the podium, we'll send it out to St. Joe to hear from the Chiefs head coach. Rookie training camp, these 3 practices wrapping up today. There will be an off day tomorrow, and then Wednesday back at it with training camp with the entire roster. It will be the first time fans will be in attendance. It's season ticket holders day on Wednesday and then open to public on Thursday. We're close to, we've got the familiar sounds of St. Joe when we play some of these clips because you have the gator in the background, the trucks moving around and the up and down the hill, guys moving the equipment. So you've got that. We don't have the kids yelling yet. We don't have the crowd and the kids yelling for autographs. When we get that, we're back at it. So that'll be Wednesday probably. Wednesday and Thursday when we play clips or things live in press conferences when you hear the crowd yelling for autographs.
Mick Schaefer, come here.
Mick, I love you, Mick. Peter Polk, I'm a fan of Oklahoma State too. Yay, Mick, yay. Gallagher-Iba. Big country. Gandhi. Yay. Big fan, Mick. There's less of that and more of Patrick, Mr. Mahomes. There's a lot of that going on.
Mr. Mahomes is my father.
That's right. Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Pat Mahomes, that's my dad. So we'll hear from Andy Reid coming up in a little bit. I'm assuming given the circumstances of the latest with Eric Bieniemy. In fact, here's Andy Reid.
This is our hearts go out to Eric Bieniemy and his family. Thoughts and prayers are with them. I can't get into details on it, but things happen sometimes, and Eric will work through it. He's got a great support group here, as does his family, as needed, and then we'll just let time take care of it from there. But Mia is stable, which is a plus, and so is Eric Jr., and that's all important. All right. With that, I'll open up to questions. What I can answer, I'll answer. But there'll probably be a few defers there. So. When did you first find out about what happened? Yesterday evening. Yeah.
Andy, I know you always immerse yourself in football. Is it tougher to focus today?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, listen, we all love EB, and you hate seeing these kind of things happen, but it's. There's always a blessing in there somewhere. They're all supportive. Everybody loves EB, as you guys do. So, he's a great person.
Coach, you've known, I'm sure, Mia for pretty much almost 30 years, and the kids as well. Oh, yeah. How are you doing with all this?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I do. And she's a saint. We all know that, the people that know her. One of God's good blessings right there now. Really special person. So, but things happen, things happen, and you got to work through it. And so that's where we're at right now, and time will have to be involved in this to help heal a little bit. So, but it'll all work out in the long run.
Andy said stable condition. Is that a comforting part in all this?
Yes, I would say yes. Now, we'll see here. This is fresh, so we'll just see how things go. But the fact that she's in stable condition, I think, is a positive for what it could be.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Coach. All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, there's Andy Reid again. He was not scheduled to talk today after practice. In fact, there was going to be no media availability today, but obviously with the circumstances of what took place last night and the news breaking this morning, they were notified about it. They found out last night. Not a surprise when everything took place around 7:30 and she was transported to the hospital. News was going to get to Eric Bieniemy pretty quickly at that point and then start to spread amongst the team. As he said, as we talked about, that is there an ETA to return? The question asked, certainly, I think needed to be asked, but the answer, no. This is real life stuff, and that's the most important thing. And that's what we talked about. Like, I don't know when Eric Bieniemy is going to return, whenever he wants to, whenever he feels like he's ready to return. Sometimes that can be therapeutic. It can be cathartic to go and get back to work. It can help you sort of process everything and it not be fully engulfed in it 24/7. But that would obviously be after Mia is probably fully recovered, or at least out of the hospital, out of the woods, if you want to call it that. And stable condition is good, but it is not released from the hospital. So we don't know how long it'll be for Eric Bieniemy. But Andy Reid said the plan is Joe Blameyer, who's the passing game coordinator, will take care of that part of it. Andy Heck is the run game coordinator. He'll take care of that part of it. And the most important thing is Eric Bieniemy and his family right now.
And then mentioning the other son.
Yeah, Eric Jr. He said
Jr.
Eric Jr.'s good,
Yeah.
Mia's good, in stable condition, but Eric Jr.'s good. And obviously it's Elijah Bieniemy, as the news is out there, that has been charged with 3 felony counts, one use of firearm, another one malicious wounding, and the third one discharging a firearm within a building. So malicious wounding is different than attempted murder. Malicious wounding is that there was an intent to hurt, but attempted murder was there was a clear intent to kill. So that's a distinction. I'm not sure how much of a distinction there. It's an awful situation, and we don't know the details with that, anything that's going on there. So we hear from Andy Reid. The team will continue to go and practice because you have to do that, and they've got a football season to play, and it's just as in any other company, somebody has to go and tend to family issues. Everybody has to then pick up the slack and go from there, and that's what the Chiefs are going to be doing with Joe Blameyer and Andy Heck taking over as the pass game coordinator. Joe Blameyer already is, and Andy Heck, the run game coordinator, will be taking over for Eric Bieniemy. So we'll see. Andy clearly trying to find the bright spot, if there is one, or a silver lining, saying that there's always a blessing somewhere in any situation. Sometimes things happen, and you have to work through it. It'll all work out in the end. We'll see with that when we get to the conclusion of this. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, and we will hear a little bit more from Patrick Mahomes, and we'll hear from some of the rookies as well, that Peter Woods and Cyrus Allen and R. Mason Thomas. There were a few quotes from them that I liked, that I thought were pretty interesting, and positives as we get ready for full-on training camp getting underway in a couple of days. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We heard from Andy Reid. There's the latest with Eric Bieniemy and what's going on with his family. Mia in stable condition. Elijah Bieniemy charged with the 3 felonies. The rest of the team reporting today and on into tonight. Off day tomorrow or an acclimation day tomorrow for the Kansas City Chiefs. No timetable, obviously, for Eric Bieniemy to return. We'll see when he gets back to the Kansas City Chiefs. But real life stuff takes over, family takes over, and you let him just go and be Eric Bieniemy and the dad and the husband, not the football coach, Eric Bieniemy, for the time being. And everybody else will step up and do what they can. And if you're a winning organization and a winning culture, then guys will find a way to step up and fill that void. Having Andy Reid there is a big part of the offensive coordinator, is definitely a big aspect of it. And you aren't acclimating or you're not trying to break in a new quarterback. You didn't just draft a new quarterback in the top 5, and the offensive coordinator now has to deal with this, and who knows what the next month of training camp will be like for that. It's not Fernando Mendoza or something like that, where this guy is probably going to be the starter, and you need that guy to be around. It's Patrick Mahomes, and he can coach probably as well as others with what he expects from certain receivers and things like that.
Yeah, football side of things specifically here, it's not good for any team, but if a team could handle a team like the Chiefs,
you would hope,
are should be more apt.
Yeah.
I know Matt Nagy's gone, but a lot of these guys have been with Bieniemy before. This is the majority of the same guys coming back from last year. The biggest difference, obviously, is Kenneth Walker, the addition of him. But your O-line, for the most part, is the same. I mean, Jalen Moore was here last year. You don't have a lot of new faces. You're hoping, Bieniemy was going to get the most. They were going to be the hard ass, if you will, pushing these guys. But you got to have some accountability, right? And it'll be time for those guys to step up and almost do it for him in his absence.
Yeah, I mean, the younger guys will. I think there is something that'll be missed from Eric Bieniemy not being there. We can't talk about what Eric Bieniemy will bring to the table as a coach who is a hard ass, as a coach who is a details guy, as a coach who will make sure that he's on you and you're supposed to be doing everything you're supposed to be doing and doing it the right way and not letting any sort of detail slide. We can't spend the offseason saying how much that benefits the Chiefs and then, sort of gloss over or dismiss that, well, if he's gone, it'll be fine. You would hope while he's gone, the Chiefs can figure out how to maintain that same level of detail. But if they can maintain that same level of detail without him, then we wouldn't be talking about the impact of him returning for this particular team. So I do think there may be some football side of it here, and we'll see. And we may never know what the difference is. We may never know if in week 7, if something had happened in the first couple of weeks of training camp. You'd hope by then things would be figured out. But to that point, let's play this clip from Cyrus Allen, because, before the news broke with Eric Bieniemy, I listened to the whole Cyrus Allen press conference, and I really loved this answer, and to sort of put you in the mindset of a rookie and a rookie wide receiver around Andy and Eric Bieniemy and also Patrick Mahomes. Here is Cyrus Allen. He was asked about what makes it to where you're around Andy, you're around Eric Bieniemy, and you talk about why there's a certain level of expectation with those coaches.
They don't play. They don't play. That's all I can say.
What makes you say that, Cyrus?
Everything is intentional. Everything is like process oriented. So we did that a lot at Cincy. So coming back into it, and Coach EB is definitely like pounding us every day with our shirt tucked in, like everything pretty much structured.
Going back to Patrick, just what have your conversations been like in terms of the way to run routes, where he likes the ball, like how's that going?
Yeah, everything pretty much time, and this ain't college no more. This big boy ball, so everything is pretty much time, and I'm on his time. And everything is very precise in this league because they got other good players too.
I liked what I heard from Cyrus Allen there. Obviously, the Eric Bieniemy thing changes a little bit when he talks about everything's detail-oriented, everything is intentional, tucking our shirts in. Like, everything is very specific. Those are the details that he is harping on, and if you're paying attention to those details, then that should translate into you paying attention to all of the other details of how wide your split is, how far down the field you're cutting, how fast you're running, what the setup is on this particular route. what the defense is doing and seeing those things. In fact, one of the plays, Cyrus Allen was brought to the side by Andy Reid after a certain play, and he was asked about what took place, and he said, he was just telling me to be aware of what the coverage was and to have an idea of what that is and to be thinking of that, before you go and run your route. And that's something that Cyrus Allen talked about, is that, his ability to read the defense and know what everybody's doing. But I also enjoyed the part there when he talked about Patrick Mahomes, and he said, it's all about timing. I'm on his time, and you need to get it done because there are other good players here. But I like that aspect of it. It's all about timing, and I'm on his time. So whatever timing he needs, that's the time I got to adjust to. It's not me saying, well, this is how I run my route. You got to throw it to me. It's, no, this is how he expects me to run the route, so that's how I will run the route. At least there's that aspect of it already with Cyrus Allen. But then you hear the details, the specifics of what separates Bieniemy versus other coaches, and the small little details of, hey, your shirt's not tucked in. It may sound mundane and stupid, but we've spent the last couple of years saying this team lost the details, and then we get back to it, and it's sort of hard to dismiss something like that and go, well, there's no impact to it. And Cyrus Allen saying, no, there's everything's a reason. Like, they have a plan, there's a structure, and everything is intentional. Even tucking your shirt in, there's probably a bigger lesson to be learned from that.
I'm with you. I mean, these are the things that seemingly don't matter when you're winning. No one cares about your shirt tucked in when you're winning. But when you do go on it works because he has the rings, too. You go to the Jets right now, and the Jets coach tells the guys to tuck in their shirt.
It's also easier if you're a rookie because you're like, well, I don't know any better.
Sure. But like if you're Garrett Wilson and all you've known is loss and horrendous QB play, bad team, you're under your, third coach now in 4 years, and a guy comes in and goes, this is what we're doing. It doesn't work. They don't have the cachet. Joe Judge tried doing that with the Giants. If you remember that was his whole thing, was I'm going to be the Bill Belichick. It doesn't work. It has to be you.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Eric Bieniemy is. When you are being 100% authentic to you, players pick up on that. Players can tell BS. Like Matt Nagy, this is not a knock on Matt Nagy because I think he deserves some credit for what he did in Kansas City. But if Matt Nagy tried to be Eric Bieniemy, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not. Players see through that.
Yeah, one of the things that seems different going into camp this year is the last couple of years. I mean, how often could the Chiefs play poor football, close one-score games, and they would always win? So there was never – I'm sure there was urgency, but we even did it from time to time. It's like, oh, if this guy's not here in camp or he's not getting going, they'll figure it out. Honestly, if they start 2-4, it's more of a challenge of, well, now we'll just win 10 in a row, where it's different this year, where they don't have that to fall back on. If they start slowly this year, if they have a poor record by week 8, it's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of finger pointing and looking to how they can fix all these problems. And so to have Bieniemy back, being that guy that can check some of these guys back into reality of, you thought it was so easy for 5 years. It was, we don't have to have any sort of motivation. We've been there. We've got the seasoning, the experience to be a Super Bowl winning team. And they did win 3 of them. They kind of had the benefit of the doubt. They didn't need to, prove anything else to anybody out there. That's what's exciting about this year, is that you're coming off of 6-11. You had a top 10 draft pick, and you had to bring in more talent this year to put you back on the map. And you had to bring back Eric Bieniemy, because I believe that when this dynasty started, he was a big part of it because of that holding guys accountable, where if things aren't going well for us, you can't stop running routes. You can't stop giving max effort on the field. And quite honestly, we saw that when things started to go south by the back half of last year.
Has anyone's perception changed more than Bieniemy
in this town?
In a, what would that be, 8-year almost stretch, where I think people liked him a lot, and then it went through he's the reason they lost. Was it the Bengals game?
He calls the bad plays, and
he calls the bad plays, and he calls the good ones. He's too hard on the guys.
Mm-hmm.
You see him and, was it Travis Kelce?
Oh yeah, they would go back and forth.
And him and Patrick, and it was, he's getting sideways with the star players. And
was it LaShawn McCoy that came out, or was or Le'Veon Bell? Was it LaShawn McCoy that hated Eric Bieniemy because he would treat the veterans the same way he would treat the younger guys, and he would yell at them? And it was like, I don't think that sounds the way you think it sounds. I don't think that's the point you're trying to make there, LaShawn, that he would yell at the veterans and the stars the same way he would yell at the rookie guys. Like, that's not a bad thing.
But the perception went from, I think, loved or liked to when the Chiefs lost in the playoffs, well, it's his fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Andy's. It's all him. And then we saw, again, Matt Nagy did a lot of good things here in KC. I think that sometimes we maybe put too much on his shoulders for some blame. But last year, and maybe even the last two, we saw a lot of the minor things bubble into major things.
Yeah.
And now it feels like not every, but I think the majority of Chiefs fans were clamoring for Bieniemy to come back. I don't know if there's ever been a perception change larger than Eric Bieniemy's.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as time went on, Alex Smith was a guy that, wasn't good enough, couldn't get it done. You've got to move on from Alex Smith. He's not the guy to get you there and, check down Charlie. To now, it's like, man, you really appreciate what Alex Smith did. I mean, stabilizing the organization, the transition from him to Patrick Mahomes, and I think his legacy has grown in Kansas City since the time he's been gone.
When you think of him as a bridge and not as Joe Montana. Yeah. If you think of it as all those guys, I think a lot of times that's what he needed to be. That's what this town and team needed, was the bridge. Going from going from the number one 14
pick to missing the playoffs one time in Alex Smith's years with the Chiefs. I mean, they didn't make it past the divisional round, but they also weren't picking in the top 10 either.
Yeah.
And so what he did, I think his reputation and legacy has changed in Kansas City, and I think Eric Bieniemy as well. And when he took over or went to Washington, I remember having the conversation that summer of, the Chiefs players talk about, what Eric Bieniemy meant to them. It's not a bad thing to have somebody that's sort of a red ass at practice and in the building and not just be a yes man or sort of cower down to the star. Like, hey, we need to do it this way. And Mahomes like, no, we're going to do it this way. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's probably the way we need to do it. Now, there's something to be said for listening to the quarterback, but those details, and I don't know what took place. It would be the coaches and the players behind the scenes that would be able to give you more of those specific things that took place over the last few years, but it does feel like a slow erosion from where they were in 2021 and then 22 without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to talk about, since they traded Tyreek Hill, like the idiots out there that look at Patrick Mahomes and say, well, since they traded Tyreek Hill, he hasn't been good. It's like he won an MVP without Tyreek Hill, you jackass. That was Eric Bieniemy's last year with the Chiefs, and they were the number one offense. Then it went to 2023 with being a lesser productive offense and having to turn into more of a, two tight end, heavier personnel as the season went along after that Raiders loss. Then they win the Super Bowl, and then on into the year in which they won all the one-score games, and then losing to the Eagles, and then the disaster of last year. Like, maybe you can see a slow erosion from where it was before to then where it is now. Some of that can also be aging. Some of that can be part of Brett Veach and not bringing enough guys to help out Patrick Mahomes. The running game going from where it was in 21 and 22 to where it is this last year.
And
like all of those things could be a part
of that, though, too. There's always
a good point, yeah.
I think the run game, you could say, maybe
where
a little
Nagy
more.
was a quarterback and Bieniemy was a running back.
I mean, I know Pacheco with the injury, and that's probably what I'm going to chalk it up to, but
yeah.
His vision almost got worse. Like,
yeah.
Some of the little things, and so who knows the full story? We'll never know how much of a percentage you can put on each one of these and say what deserves the blame. Because, yeah, you're right. Travis Kelce was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That plays a factor. Wide receivers really haven't really been good in general. It's not like there was a plethora of Tyreek Hill, obviously, but in 23, it wasn't like, oh, yeah, he's still here. No, it was Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, MVS, Justin Watts. I mean, it's not like there's been a lot of that. I do think the run game will be much improved. Now, obviously, it's tough for Matt Nagy's going, well, if you give me Kenneth Walker, of course the run game would be improved.
I would have handed the ball to Kenneth Walker, too.
But I think there is something to be said about a clearly a great running back coach as an OC getting with a damn good running back and hopefully getting the most out of said guy.
Yeah, I think there were issues with the coaching staff last year, but the majority of their flaws was that the roster wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
They had too many injuries to the offensive line. They had the worst running game in all of football. They didn't have a lot of durability there either. The receiving game banged up too. I mean, there was one point where we're talking about Tyquan Thornton being a true number 2 in this offense while guys are out. And Tyquan Thornton's a fine player. He's a good player. 3-4 years ago when Bieniemy was here, he would have the Justin Watson role, and he would be fine in it. But last year, we were just grasping at straws for any sort of hope of, well, they're going to get it going with this guy, or this guy's going to be able to step up. They just weren't good enough players, and that's what I thought this offseason was about, is significantly raising the floor of this team, where when you don't have that great game, right, when Kenneth Walker inevitably runs for 80 yards on 18 carries against a really good run defense, can you get something out of the passing game? And I'm sure they can.
Yeah, and that's the hope. We'll see. We'll see when he returns and what it will look like in the meantime. On the other side of the break, I do want to talk about a couple of the other parts of the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll hear from some of the rookies. I do want to play another couple of clips from Patrick Mahomes. He talked about how this injury will make him better and explains what specifically he means by that. And then we need to get into the Chiefs' defensive end situation. It's been an issue this offseason. They drafted our Mason Thomas, which certainly you're hoping will help when it comes to pass rush. But you've got Karlaftis and Gelati and our Mason Thomas. And then who? And an injury on Saturday makes it even more murky. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us until noon. Joel Penfield joins us coming up at noon. We will talk about the Royals with Joel Penfield and get his thoughts on where they are right now and get his thoughts on what a week from today, August 3rd, for the trade deadline. And we'll see what the Royals will end up doing. 913-912-4810 is the text line. Before we get into a defensive end conversation, I want to play this with Patrick Mahomes. Let's play a couple of clips here because I think there are certain markers along the way that you can look at for Mahomes being ready to play week number 1. Going through OTAs and minicamp, being cleared to play for training camp or practice. Is he going to play in preseason games? Well, we'll find out. And then being cleared to play week 1. Let's play clip number 4 here. And he was asked with the brace, with the knee, he's gone through 7-on-7. This is, some more 7-on-7 stuff, but it is not, full-on pads or anything. And they asked Patrick Mahomes, does he think he's mentally ready for full pads, 11-on-11 work?
You don't know. That's kind of just part of the process. We've had people kind of on air kind of coming at me and me moving, but it's not the same as having Chris Jones chasing after you, And so that's part of the mental process. That's part of the physical process is being able to go out there. But I'm happy that I get to do that. I get to do that from the beginning of training camp. And this will be the hardest training camp that you could have as far as preparing for the season. And so I'm glad that I'm able to do that starting tomorrow, and then we can continue as training camp goes on.
Tomorrow being this conversation on Friday.
Yeah.
But as he said, we'll see. Do you think you're mentally ready for 11-on-11? We'll see. It's part of the overall process. I mean, when he injured his knee, he returned to an actual real game. I mean, he didn't hurt his knee and then return to practice. So he had to go. That's right. He was not a game.
Well,
not a game. Talk about practice.
He also said you have to, trust the process.
That's exactly right.
And I'm with you because the Sixers process clearly worked. Anytime you can trust it for about 12 years and then sign a 42-year-old, you have to do it.
Big trust. Woo, woo. That's what you got to do. Let's play clip number 8 here from Patrick Mahomes. When he went down with his injury, he was asked, was it realistic at the time to think that he'd be in this spot practicing for the season and the first practice of training camp?
I mean, it's kind of always just been the plan, just looking at the dates, and there were certain checkpoints I had to get to this point, and this is just another checkpoint on the schedule, and so you have to continue to work. It's not like it's over and I'm just going to be able to play a game tomorrow. It's you got to continue to work and get better and better and go throughout practice, and prove to the coaches, prove to the doctors and everybody that I'm the same quarterback I was before, and if not better, and I can go out there and take care of myself and win football games.
You feel you want to show that you can come out of this the same or better? Mm-hmm. In what ways do you think you can come out of this better?
Yeah, I think when you talk to guys that have kind of had this injury I have, a lot of times you're stronger. I feel stronger than I've ever felt as far as strength and lifting and stuff like that. And so now it's just about getting that quarterback stuff down, that stuff moving in the pocket quick, making those quick movements, reacting and doing stuff like that. And so I feel like I wasn't playing my best football at the end of last year before I got hurt. And so I got to find ways to get better, kind of navigating the pocket, running the offense better, and getting the ball in my hands and letting other guys make plays. And so I think this injury helped me kind of focus on those little things as I kind of get back to being who I am.
I think this is year number 5 in a row from Mahomes saying, I got to get the ball out, little things, footwork, not try to hold the ball too long, not try to create the extra play. If it's there, take the profit, if you will. You never go broke taking a profit. And maybe this one's different with the knee injury. Let's play clip number 9 here, and then we'll move on to some conversation about some of the rookies and what they need to do or even can do at defensive end. But here's Patrick Mahomes and asked, will he be the same quarterback that he was before when he's talking about maybe being better, and what specific parts will he be better at?
I plan to be able to do everything I did before. I've been moving around and doing that stuff, but I'm going to obviously try to take care of myself a little bit better than I did last season. I think I ran a little bit too much last season in general, so I'll try to be better with that. And then if all else fails, just give it to K9 and let him just go out there and work.
Hey, Patrick, what's one area you want to be sure to improve this year after the season you went through?
Yeah, I think it's just about getting the ball out of my hands. I think, obviously, I like to make the big play happen, and sometimes I won't take the short one, or I won't take the first read because I'm trying to make a bigger play happen. It's getting the ball out of my hands, making plays like that happen, and then whenever the deep ball is there, you have to hit it. Like, at the end of the day, that's just comes down to me throwing the ball and giving guys chances to make plays. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but give guys chances to make plays downfield, and so if we can do that, as well as the running game that I'm excited for, I think we can get back to being a dynamic offense.
Get the ball out of his hands. Don't run as much. Protect yourself. I mean, look, we talked about it last year. He was the Chiefs' running game. And he knew it early on, too. I mean, it was only a matter of time before his legs gave out, and it's why I thought it was such an appropriate picture. It's unfortunate, and it's not what you want to see, but it was an appropriate picture to describe the season when he was going down the tunnel after tearing his ACL and MCL, and he had his arms around the trainers, and they were carrying him, not carrying him, but
Yeah.
you know, holding him up while he's going down the tunnel. And I said, it's a perfect encapsulation of the season because that's what the rest of the team was, with Patrick Mahomes being the one that was carrying them. The offense, certainly, because it was, save us, Obi-Wan Mahomey. You're our only hope, and go out there and be the run game, be the offense, be the guy that's, you know, creating the angles and getting the ball to the receivers as much as you can. And then when the receivers don't do the things they're supposed to do, then it's on you, and it's your fault for not doing that because you are held to a higher standard by everybody. Patrick Mahomes is not judged against other quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is judged against himself. And when he doesn't live up to the expectations of himself, therefore he falls behind other quarterbacks that are not compared to themselves. They're compared to what Patrick Mahomes is now, and not what Patrick Mahomes is and what he can be with a roster around him and with a running game and with quote-unquote help. Nobody outside of Kansas City is going to view Cook in Buffalo as a weapon for Josh Allen because it's not who he throws the ball to. Yet, Patrick Mahomes faced the most light boxes last year of anybody. So he had to then be the running game because the running game wasn't successful there either. So protecting himself also goes to the coaches. It goes to Brett Veach, and it goes to the players surrounding him. Protecting himself means Mahomes can't get in 3rd and 8 situations where you have to come through and pick it up, and therefore I have to run and take on this defender so we don't punt it, and now we rely on the defense to get a stop, and if they don't, we don't get the ball back. He's not ever going to protect himself in that situation.
No.
That will never happen. He'll be 42 years old playing football, and he will lower his shoulder in that situation in week 1 or 2 to pick up that first down if it means winning that game. Protecting himself also falls on the rest of the team, the coaches, and the front office to protect him too.
It's why I keep going back to the Kenneth Walker signing, and it's why even I originally I was never like a running backs don't matter, but I thought that it was the run scheme, the run game itself matters, but the individuality does not as much, if that makes sense.
No, you and I are lockstep in agreement in that.
But it had gotten so bad in KC and so far the other way, there needed to be a massive injection, and
it was like the running game was so bad just to prove a point to us.
Correct. It was
I don't know why they. I wish they didn't do that, but they were listening to us talk. Jack, Sterling, like you know what? You guys are wrong. Running back matters, and we'll show you.
We're gonna prove a point. You
prove it,
jackass.
Running back matters.
And so, I have firmly been on the camp of Kenneth Walker doesn't just matter what he does with his numbers, but what he does opening up the offense for Patrick. I keep going back to Xavier Worthy. I think he's the biggest benefactor of this. That's where I land. I think we're going to look at Jalen Moore playing better at right tackle because he's more of a run-blocking tackle to begin with. So I think we'll have a better perspective of him. Just in general, I think Kenneth Walker, and again, this is a lot of pressure on a running back and a guy who's been injured before. If Kenneth Walker stays healthy, I think we look back at him being the engine that helped change last year to this year. And again, who knows with Emmett Johnson or Amari DeMarcado and what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
But Kenneth Walker, to me, just has to stay healthy because you mentioned it. It's the light boxes.
Yeah.
That was a massive detractor for the Chiefs offense last year.
It's not to say this is going to happen, but Kenneth Walker has the opportunity to be one of the biggest additions that Patrick Mahomes has ever had in his time in Kansas City. I mean, you were talking about the most expensive running back in that backfield, somebody that's coming out being a Super Bowl MVP, was one of the top names in the NFL, and you had Isaiah Pacheco last year and Kareem Hunt, and neither of them could really get anything done. And when you saw the offense struggle over and over and over again, we like to go back to the old school saying of just, well, you got to get the running game going. You got to establish the run here. Andy Reid says that a lot of, oh, we got to get the run game going. Well, you can't get it going when your running back's not very good. I would say that it was more so about Isaiah Pacheco last year, not his entire career, because there were times you could get the running game going with Isaiah Pacheco.
He looked good in 2022.
Think about times they could have iced games with the running game. My mind immediately goes to Denver in Mile High. They had the ball back. It was going to be one last drive there, and they went 3 and out because it was Denver dropping everybody in coverage, knowing that they wouldn't dare to waste one play on Isaiah Pacheco. Now, think about them leading by 3 with 3.5 to go, and a team has all their timeouts. We'll see what Kenneth Walker looks like in a Chiefs uniform, but that allows you to eke out some of those games. Or when you're trailing 10-0 and the offense has been stagnant, maybe you've had a turnover here, maybe the receivers have dropped a couple of passes. There is nothing that gets a drive going more than some chunk yardage on the ground. When you can, be physical up front and open up a hole for a guy like Kenneth Walker to break free for 13 or 14. It naturally gets everybody going. It gets everybody into a rhythm, and it's the most important time to have a running back like this. I didn't care that they gave him all this money because they didn't have the luxury of going, well, we'll trade up and get somebody in the draft. If Emmett Johnson right now was the number 1 running back, 2 to 3 years ago, we'd say, that's awesome. I mean, he was great in Nebraska. Here's another great pickup for the Chiefs. He's going to be this 1,000-yard rusher. They always seem to do it. But we've never seen Emmett Johnson take an NFL snap. We, at this point last year, we're saying Brashard Smith could be this X factor, this gadget guy.
The screen game is back.
Screen game.
Yeah.
He was a receiver, so he knows how to catch these passes. He could still become something. But we feel safer with Patrick Mahomes coming off a knee injury, knowing that this is a guy that was the number 1 running back. Not always treated that way in Seattle because they'd take him out at the goal line and put in Charbonnet. But Seattle, who won the Super Bowl, was dominant for most of the year, had this guy as one of their top players out there. Probably the number 2 behind JSN, I would say. And so the Chiefs going out there and making sure that they were not going to pick somebody up on a 1-year deal, use a 7th-round pick. They were going to do that for depth purposes. This is a type of guy that can get the offense back to being top 5, which is honestly what they need to be if they expect to be back in the Super Bowl this year.
Your point, real quick, I liked your point on Emmett Johnson because you're right. If this would have been, if they would not have.
I love him, but I'm like, to view him as a true number 1.
Yeah, and that's also a good point of where the Chiefs running back room is, though, now versus even last year. The fact is they actually spent, I think, legit draft capital on him, right? Legit.
Yeah.
Was it 4th round, right? Was it 4th or 5th?
I think it was 5th.
5th. Yeah. But on a guy like him who is an every down-ish type of guy and not a gadget player like Brashard Smith, we would have been excited if it was, hey, Emmett Johnson's here. That's nice for the offense. And that's just a guy that's almost just breaking case of emergency, or if an injury happens to Kenneth Walker, and hell, he might still be behind Amari DeMarcado on the depth chart.
I think at this point he probably is, just because DeMarcado has the experience and you need somebody to pass protect for Patrick Mahomes. Part of Patrick Mahomes protecting himself is other guys around protecting him as well, and DeMarcado having more experience doing that. And to your point, Jack, about handing the ball off and just wrapping up a game, as you said that, I'm trying to think back of like the last significant game that the Chiefs won, playoffs, where they just handed the ball off to ice the game. And the one that came to mind, and so I had to go back and check to see if that was the last one that happened. And that was divisional round of the 2023 season against Buffalo after the Bills missed the field goal. Handoff to Pacheco, 8 yards. Handoff to Pacheco, 4 yards. Knees. After that, icing against Baltimore was the throw to MBS.
Yeah.
You beat the 49ers by winning in overtime. 2024, the Houston Texans, they didn't have to ice it because they were up by 11. And then the Bills in the AFC Championship game, they threw to Pirine. That 17-yard gain, that little swing outlet pass to Pirine, gained 17 yards, and that was the game, and the Bills had to use their last time out, and the game was over. Last time they just had the Bills had 3 timeouts, or a team had 3 timeouts, and you're trying to ice the clock and not give it back to them, and you're up by 3, was that 2023 divisional round. They gave it to Pacheco. He picked up 8 yards, gave it to Pacheco, picked up 4 yards. Bills used the last timeout ball game. And it's been that long in a significant game where you're like, okay, this matters. You hand it off here and you can get the win, and you're hoping that takes place with Kenneth Walker this particular year. But part of Mahomes protecting himself is the Chiefs protecting him as well.
How concerned,
dude?
This is my concern, dude, with Kenneth Walker holding up. Because we mentioned Charbonnet. Last year he did. Last year he played in all 17 games, and then he was the dude. He was Lebowski in the postseason. But prior to that, it was 11. It was 15. It was 15. A lot of games played, but I think if you had him on fantasy football team or anything, he played a little Sammy Watkins at times, where he'd play, but you're like, okay, he got 4 carries and came out, right? But also, part of it was they used Charbonnet, I think, to just keep him fresh.
Yeah.
I don't think it was they thought Charbonnet was better. I think, on short yardage situations, put the big boy, put Eddie Lacy back there, just let him pick that thing up. But are we expecting too much of him as a bell cow, maybe?
No, I think what we've seen from Andy Reid, and it goes back to, since Kareem Hunt in 2018, in those first 11 weeks, it was all about Kareem Hunt. So that's the last time that the Chiefs have had sort of one guy that was the number one running back. But that was only for 11 weeks. Since then, Andy Reid has had more of a running back by committee until the postseason.
Is that because he wants to do that, or been forced
right,
to do that?
And that's the question, is because
he used to only like having one guy. That was the Brian Westbrook. That was the.
They've had different. Even Damian Williams in 2019 was a guy that was in the rotation until the postseason.
Yeah.
And then it was all Damian Williams. It's why he's in all these different record books for the Chiefs in postseason play with touchdowns and receiving yards and, rushing yards, is because he had that amazing run in the postseason where people have argued he was the Super Bowl MVP. He wasn't. It was Mahomes. But people have argued whether he was the MVP or not. He has all these. He got every touch, if I'm not mistaken, running the ball. I think he ran the ball every single time in the postseason, except for after the Rose Bowl play where they did a little spin move and then they ran it up to the 1-yard line. I think at that point it was the kid from
Darryl the Barrel.
No, kid from Tulsa. He's running on Tulsa time that recovered the fumble against the Texans. Darwin Thompson ran the ball first and goal at the 1 and got stopped. Go back and check. I think that's the only time a running back besides Damian Williams touched the ball.
By the way.
Thank you. He's running on Tulsa time, which I don't know what that meant, but anyway, I think that's the only time. So when it got to postseason play, it was Damian Williams is our guy. We're not messing around with this. So I wonder, when you look back to Kareem Hunt was the guy, but it was also Patrick Mahomes. You didn't know what he would look like in the regular season, so having somebody to rely on in Kareem Hunt, which is probably closer to this year than any other year of saying we need somebody for Mahomes to rely on to just hand the ball off to. But we've still seen Andy have more of a running back by committee until rubber meets the road in the postseason, or it's you got to win these games. I'd be more inclined right now to think it will be sort of a peak, a valley, and a peak. They'll start off the season, I believe, with protecting Mahomes and maybe handing the ball off to Kenneth Walker a little bit more and riding that a little bit more, creating lighter or taking advantage of lighter boxes. the defense proving that they're going to stop the run before you say, Mahomes, you're just going to pass it 3 times here. Then as Mahomes gets more and more healthy, I think you might see we need to make sure Kenneth Walker does not touch the ball 350 times this year. We've got him over multiple years, and we need him for the postseason. So it's DeMarcado or Emmett Johnson or whoever else. And then you get to the end, I think postseason time, it'll be Kenneth Walker as the only guy in the backfield.
I agree. When I look at the breakdown, this is the regular season breakdown of touches. Regular season breakdown of touches for Kenneth Walker. His rookie year, he had 228 attempts.
Over touches, not just rushes?
I'm going to do receptions.
Okay, so touches. I think touches is a better one.
Yeah, so 228 attempts, 27 receptions. That is good for 155, right? Or 255.
255. Yeah.
255. Good start. Way to do math. 219 attempts and then 29 receptions. That is 248.
So roughly the exact same back-to-back years.
He played 15 games both those seasons.
Yeah.
The 11-game season, 153 plus 46, 199.
Okay, so let me do the quick math. 199 divided by 11 equals times 17 equals, that would give him 307. I give him 307 touches.
Yeah, it was a little.
But here's the thing. Is that correlation causation? He was on pace for 50, 60 more touches than any other season, and he got hurt.
Yeah. So something to keep in mind. And then again last year, 221 in 17 games. Not 15, 17 games, 221. And he had 31 receptions, so that's 250.
Right around the first 2 years.
But that's also in 2 more games.
Yeah, right.
So he if you look at like touches per season, like per game, last year was technically the fewest, right?
But it was right. It's been right around 250, 260.
Right around 250.
3 of the 4. The one that he paced for over 300 was the year that he got injured.
The major injuries, yeah.
So I think that's absolutely something to keep in mind.
So
but early on, I don't think early on, if you're trying to get back to being the Chiefs, I don't think the Chiefs were in a position and having luxury of saying, hey, let's slowly integrate Kenneth Walker so he's healthy for the rest of the season.
No.
Because the Chiefs have to start off with a phenomenal record to start the season.
They
need to come out winning.
Gets tough. That schedule gets really hard.
They need to be 4-0 heading into the bye.
And then at that point, and again, this is the question I pose because Kenneth Walker had Charbonnet, and it was a nice 1-2 punch. We see Jahmyr Gibbs had it with David Montgomery, and they're going to try with Pacheco. You saw Bijan Robinson, to an extent, still had that with Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
I mean, the elite guys, for the most part, still have – Derrick Henry still has a lot of rushes, but they still have a plethora, a stable of guys behind him they would use. So,
in fact, when it came to the late part of the game, it wasn't Derrick Henry in the game. That was Ravens' complaints, is we're paying all this money to a big running back, but when you have to go and score, he's not on the field because he's more of a boom or bust guy at this point in his career.
Sunk cost, I think, by the way, whatever you're paying him, it's a sunk cost.
Right.
How do you get the most value, most efficiency out of a guy? And so I just find myself wondering, will Emmett Johnson be the Charbonnet? Will DeMarcado just be a third down guy and that's all he's taking over? Because I find myself wondering how the running back room breaks. Kenneth Walker's 1A.
Yeah, there's a lot of eggs in the Kenneth Walker basket that if Kenneth Walker goes down, the running back room looks like last year.
I still think it looks slightly better.
We'll see. I don't know what to make of DeMarcado, and I've never seen Emmett Johnson carry a ball in an NFL game. Nobody has.
But we saw Pacheco carry a ball in an NFL game last year, and it was...
But it can always be worse. We've seen that.
Buddy Bell.
It can always be worse.
Is that Buddy Bell?
Yes.
Yeah.
It can always get worse.
Never tell me it can't get worse.
Yeah. I think the first 4 games of the season are vitally crucial because then you got screwed with the bye week there.
Yeah.
You need to be 4-0. And if you're 4-0, leaning on Kenneth Walker, you get to the bye. Mahomes then has a little bit more than some rest. Then you get the Chargers and Seahawks. He's going to want to run the ball a lot. So they're probably, but I think you have to start finding ways to give him fewer carries. Hopefully the Jets, Falcons, Cardinals 3-game stretch can be one to where you don't have to rely on Kenneth Walker gaining 150 yards per game. You may have to rely on Kenneth Walker in that Chargers, Seahawks, Broncos stretch. So right after the bye week. So you've got to find ways, sort of like we talked about last year with Seth Lugo, you got to find ways to limit the innings so that June swoon doesn't come around for, Seth Lugo. For Kenneth Walker, you have to find areas to get him off the field so that he's ready to go postseason time, because this is about the postseason. For the Chiefs, as long as Patrick Mahomes is on the field, it should be about the postseason. Now it's about getting back to the postseason, winning the division, but you got the Denver Broncos 2 times in your first 7 games. So those first 7 weeks, along with Seattle and the Chargers, Kenneth Walker's probably going to need to be a big part of your offense.
And so, again, I go back. 250 seems to be the sweet spot for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
If 250 divided by 17, that's just under 15 touches a game.
And then, well, here's the thing. If you're seeing a lot of light boxes, maximize those touches. So is
he's going for 1,000 yards twice in his career.
Right,
so
but that's the thing, is what Kenneth Walker can make the biggest difference is you see the light boxes. It didn't matter last year. Light box, heavy box, they couldn't run the ball. They were the least successful, one of the least successful teams against light boxes last year running the ball.
Yeah.
And it's absurd how many light boxes they saw. It was just a waste of down anytime he handed it off. So if you now give it to Kenneth Walker against a light box and he picks up 11 or 12 yards, now throw a light box out there. Now you got Mahomes going up against 5 defenders, 6 defenders, and not 7 out there. So now it makes it a little bit easier for Patrick Mahomes. It makes it easier for Kelsey to not have 7 guys he's got to deal with, where you got a safety and a linebacker on Kelsey because they've only got, 5 guys there in the box because they don't have to worry about you running the football. So, yeah, that becomes an issue for this team. And so that's where Kenneth Walker, you maximize those reps. And then when they start to go heavy box, you don't have to keep pounding it with Kenneth Walker. Now you can use Patrick Mahomes and his ability to find the space with Rashee Rice or throw the ball deep to Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, get more of those shots down the field.
And that's, again, it goes to my overarching point. Keep Kenneth Walker at 250-ish.
I'm good with that.
Regular season touches. And I'm judging him more on efficiency than total numbers. I will judge him a little bit on what the pass game looks like.
Yeah,
not with him, but because of the fact I think he'll open things up. If he gets 14, 15 touches a game, 65 yards, and you're sitting back going, well, that's not 100 yards and 20 touches and all these different things, but the offense looks better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I think that's going to be a big takeaway of what Kenneth Walker provided for the offense.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to hear from a couple of the rookies, specifically Peter Woods, what he was talking about. I liked it. And he's a guy that certainly I'll be watching. Was one of the honorable mentions because people talking about Mansour Delane. I've talked about, set him aside because he better be good. So, and if he's not, he would be breaking 2 very specific trends that have shown to have cornerbacks that would live up to that billing. If he's not good, I think he will be. A little concerned about the shoulder injury already that had him missing minicamp and now missing the first part of training camp. But we'll talk about Peter Woods and a couple of other things with the Kansas City Chiefs as we continue rolling here on this Monday edition. We'll talk with Joel Penfield at noon. Mick Schaefer, 1 o'clock. Learn funniest best. Royals are off. We got TBT coming up at 7:45 pregame, and KU taking on Wichita State. Coming up tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. More Zone next. like, there are no rules. It's TBT, damn it.
I'm trying to see who's on it.
Aftershocks?
Marcus McDuffie.
Connor Frankamp is probably somebody you would,
He's on there.
you would remember.
Connor Frankamp, yeah.
Rashard Kelly.
Yeah, Rashard Kelly.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I was hoping it would be like...
They're the reigning champs.
Yeah, but I was hoping for, like Ron Baker.
I know, right?
He is an excellent golfer, by the way.
Is he really?
Phenomenal golfer.
Huh.
Yeah, when we've traveled down to the Wichita golf tournament down there.
Yeah.
They do like this ceremony first shot, off the first tee. Mike Pelfrey's done it before, but yeah, Ron Baker went up there, big crowd and everything, just drilled it dead center. 320 plus, I bet.
Why
Nice.
isn't Clay Anthony early? You get Ron
He was
Baker,
damn good.
Clay
Yeah,
Anthony early, yeah.
Those are some
really
good teams, man.
Or Fred Van Vliet.
Fred Van Vliet,
Fred
yeah.
Van Vliet. Well, he's still in the NBA. I'm thinking of guys who are like not in the NBA anymore.
Yeah, Ron Baker would be one that you would think would be on the team. But Clay Anthony Early, what's he doing now?
I know he got shot, and that took him out of the
Okay.
NBA for a while. He's back. Well, I think he was playing
He was
overseas.
in New York for a
yeah,
while.
he was playing overseas a little bit.
He is now with
The New York Knicks loved the Wichita State
Shockers, yeah.
because Ron Baker played there, Clay Anthony
Shamit.
Early played there, and then Shamit, yeah.
he's playing in Egypt right now.
Playing in Egypt.
Yeah, playing in Egypt for Zamalek. Last 2 years is where he's been. So there you go. There's Clay Anthony. He can return for that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Playing overseas doesn't matter.
Give me the names I want to hear, right? Like, I want K-State to have Jacob Pullen.
Rashard
Well,
Kelly
they
was
did, but he was hurt. I
Yeah.
believe. He couldn't play.
Yeah, Rashard Kelly was playing in Japan. He's back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why can't Missouri have Anthony Johnston and Ricky Paulding?
Because Missouri wasn't in it. That's why.
Well, I'm saying, like, this is...
I know.
And it would. I think the winner goes on to play in Lexington against La Familia.
La Familia.
Yeah, for Kentucky on Wednesday. So now it's one and done, where it was a 3-game series
which is
in the
perfect
opener.
for Kentucky.
Oh, so they're out of groups. They're out of group stage.
They're group
Yes,
stage.
they are, because it was
Plays
best
done.
2 out of 3. So yeah, best 2 out of 3 with that. La Familia has is Willie Cauley-Stein on that team?
He should be.
I think
He
Willie
should be,
Cauley-Stein
yeah.
is on that. Yeah, Marcus Lee, DeAndre Liggins, Willie Cauley-Stein, Archie Goodwin, Andrew Harrison. Not the one that hit all the shots. He was the point guard. Aaron Harrison, his brother, is the one that hit the big shots.
Could they get the other? They only got one, not the other.
Yeah, they only got
Cost
one.
too
They only
much.
got the point guard. Yeah. Liggins is the one that I use all the time for if NIL was around, he would be a guy that would have gone pro, would have stayed in college, because going into a senior year, he wasn't an NBA player, but he put his name in the draft, and it was like, dude, you've got to return to school. Because back in the day, you would say, well, return to school and increase your draft stock, because it's clearly going to get better by another year in college and being older. And he had just had a kid on campus, and he was like, I got a family. Like, I've already got my money under the table. He didn't say that. That was the upfront payment. I'm not getting any more now.
Oh, we go to the front door now.
I'm not getting any more.
You should go to the back door. But go to the front door.
But he was such a good player his junior year and was a big part of that team making the Final Four. He would have got a decent amount of NIL to transfer or stay there, and so he wouldn't have to then put his name in the draft. He just played overseas, and that was his point. He goes, even if I go to Europe and make money, I'm doing this for my family. I can't play college anymore. I've got to be I'm a dad. All right, I got to be an adult now. And if the NBA isn't in my future, then European basketball is in my future, and I'll take my family over there. And he made a decent amount of money in Europe, so good for him. But NIL, he would have stayed around. And when people complain about NIL, we have players that are staying around in college because of NIL, and they're not saying, I'm going to go play in Europe. I'm just going to go somewhere else. I mean, what would Cole Aldrich? I mean, Cole Aldrich still, I mean, he had a rough season when his grandmother died because he blamed himself, because he could have gone pro the year before, but he wanted to return. And as the story goes, if I remember the reporting correctly, he blamed himself because he said it was a selfish decision to return to school instead of going pro and protecting his family. And he could have then had more money for his grandma, maybe for medicine or whatever it might have been. And then she passes away, and he was like, it was my fault. You know, and it totally wrecked his season that year. NIL, he'd have been able to take care of his family and return to Kansas. So those are the parts of the NIL that people, dismiss that has been good for college basketball outside of the constant, turnover and having more of a mercenary, a financial relationship rather than Cole Aldrich's relationship with Bill Self and the university. and things like that. And DeAndre Liggins' relationship with Calipari and the university, and probably plenty of other guys that were like that just said, I need to go somewhere and make money now because I've got a family or whatever it might be. It's different. Ahmad Hardy, he's a dad. And maybe Ahmad Hardy goes pro after last year if, being a dad and was like, well, I got to take care of my family. So if that means I'm making, $700,000 or if that means I'm making $200,000 as a practice squad player, well, I'm making $200,000. Pretty damn good to be a practice squad player, and maybe I get elevated a couple times. Instead, he's getting 7 figures to play football, which is awesome. It goes a long way. So that's where those things
even
come
like
into play.
Akeem Mesidor, when he used his money to
increase his draft stock by working on himself with a personal trainer and becoming a better football player because they didn't have that.
Stands, and I wonder what the percentage is.
Yeah, I know.
Of guys that do that versus
guys that spend stupid amount of money on stupid things, and there's always going to be that.
Because I think maybe we focus more on the guys that do stupid things.
We do. And we focus more on the going from place to place to place to look for money. R. Mason Thomas is a guy that didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be. I would love to know the breakdown. There needs to be a study, I think, done on this.
You'd have to find out
does Reuters do the study?
Yeah, you'd have to find out what the money was being spent on. I mean, that's personal stuff.
Yeah, if it's like, hey, I'm spending this on, going to Magic City in Atlanta versus wings. I'm talking wings.
Did you say you went to the zoo a lot? No, I went to Spearmint Rhino. It's a different zoo.
Spent a lot of money on
totally different zoo.
Love Bazooka Gum. Is that what it is? Bazooka Gum? Is that what you're spending the money on?
That's right. I hate the sun, so I hung out at Shady Lady.
Yeah,
just because it's so hot outside. Let's hear from Peter Woods. Speaking of those things, what he weighs in, what he has learned so far since he was drafted as being a pro.
Yeah, just the little details. Sometimes in college you can get away with some stuff, but these guys are very detail oriented. And guys on the league, I'm going to get some of the best guys, in the whole world at their position. So they don't make a lot of mistakes. So just making sure that I'm detailed on my end and limiting the mistakes.
Is there one detail that comes to mind?
I think footwork's important for every defensive lineman. Having the correct footwork, being able to get to the places you need to get, from A to B as quick as possible.
Peter, what did today mean to you walking down the hill for the first time and getting to experience your first day of training camp?
Yeah, it was almost a dream come true. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos of guys, trotting down the hill and stuff like that, and I just never really thought that it would be me, coming up, So, it was a dream come true. I was thinking about practice when I was coming down the hill, what I'm saying, because I was just excited to get out here. But that's a dream of its own. So I was super excited for that.
I didn't cut the clip of R. Mason Thomas talking about he was asked by Nick Jacobs of what it meant to walk down that hill. He didn't have quite the answer that Peter Woods did when Peter Woods was like, I've seen video of it, and just knowing that that's me now doing that, it was great. R. Mason Thomas was like, I didn't realize how big the hill was. We were walking here, and I saw he said, I saw the practice facility, or the indoor facility. I saw the turf, and he was like, well, where are we going? We're still walking? He said, and then I looked down, I saw how big the hill was, and he goes, well, I guess I got to leave 10 minutes early from the dorm now to get here. That was R. Mason Thomas's reaction to walking down the hill. I didn't realize it was that big, and now I got to leave earlier, and apparently we're not practicing inside when it's 110-degree heat index on Saturday and Sunday. I want to play this clip from Peter Woods because this sort of got me pumped about this year for Peter Woods. We discussed, and one of the things that Michael was watching was R. Mason Thomas and what they would do with his weight, whether he would be bigger, whether they would leave him alone. Last year they put weight on Omar Norman-Lott, then decided that wasn't working out. They took weight, got him back down to his weight that he was playing in college, and then he tore his ACL. I don't know if those things were connected or not. But the question was asked, and I think appropriately, it was a good question about Peter Woods, your weight, and where you're at right now, and where do you want to be with your weight when the season starts?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable. My weight is like 308, 313. I want to try to play like around 308. So I'm there. I'm ready to go. And camp sweat will get some more off of me. So I just got to balance that, make sure I'm eating my meals and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that, and just being able to find really where my niche is in playing weight.
And what does 308 do for you if you're there?
Speed, quickness, acceleration, mismatch. So I'm really excited.
He's 308, 313. He's going to be losing weight because of the sweat. He's got to keep his meals up, but he's comfortable. It's where he wants to be. And what does 308 do? Speed, acceleration, mismatch. So clearly the Chiefs are not saying, hey, Peter, let's put some more weight on you.
Yeah.
It's maybe learn their lesson last year from Omar Norman-Lott, not to mess around and just let the dude be the dude. And he's playing at 308. That's what he played at. Let him play at 308 and let him have that quickness. I don't know if he played heavier last year when he was taking on more double teams as more of an interior nose tackle type player, as opposed to a couple of years ago when they moved him to end and 3 technique, and they did more of finding the mismatch, it feels like, a couple of years ago for Peter Woods, as opposed to last year being the guy that the offense had to then double team so it would create openings for other people, as he was sort of maybe the sacrificial lamb in a way. Maybe he had to play a little bit heavier, and now he's back down to 308, where he feels like he's explosive and ready to go. I love that the Chiefs aren't going to mess with him with his weight like they did last year with Omar Norman-Lott.
Because it looks like he has gone from 298 at his combine.
Okay.
Peter Woods, that's what his weight is 298 at the combine. I've seen 310 on Wikipedia and some other sites as well, so I don't know if he just bounced around at Clemson, because I know they bulked him up at Clemson his final year right, and they tried moving him inside more.
Chris Jones says he's, 285? What is it? When he lists him at 300, he's like, I haven't been 300 in a while. He's like, I weigh 285. I want Madden to get my weight right.
And so for Peter Woods, yeah, I think 308 is probably the right number. I mean,
that's where he feels comfortable. Then let him play where he feels comfortable.
Because I think
where he feels explosive.
I think Clemson, I would love to know what he played at last year at Clemson.
Yeah, me too.
Because it felt like that was the issue. And there was a lot of underlying talk about that. They don't have it. Maybe I can look up on. It doesn't matter. Either way, if he feels comfortable at 308.
They listed him his senior year or junior year 6'3", 310.
So there's probably where the Wikipedia came from. So that's not a drastic difference there from 308.
But who knows if he played at that?
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been his sophomore year. He played 6'3", 310.
So either way, Peter Woods, that's a big body still. I mean, Omar Norman-Lott was 291, I believe, at the combine. Was 291.
Tonga's 330, right? 330, 335?
Yeah.
He's wide.
I think.
Sturdy, not getting
sturdy.
Tonga's 330 when he hasn't got his other leg up there on the scale.
335.
I'm joking, Kyrus. Don't come after me. I know you're probably driving to camp right now.
Wrong.
335. 6'2". 335.
Yeah, that's different. If he's 6'2", yeah, he's more 330, 335 at 6'2", the way that he looks. If you said he was 6'6", 330, I'd say he's, add 40 pounds. If he looks like that at 6', but 6'2", yeah, he's probably 330. Probably 330. Probably a deuce and a half. You know. Anybody get that reference? No? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? Voodoo Economics? No, it's from something about Mary. It's about a deuce and a half.
Yeah, that's a good movie. That's a good
deuce
movie.
and a half, huh?
Yeah. I haven't seen that in so long. I watched Death at a Funeral. Do you remember that one? The British one?
I have not seen that one.
That was a good one.
Nope, have not seen that one.
Never mind. I'll go.
Thanks, I appreciate it, man.
Leave.
Yep, just go hang out over there in the corner. Okay. Appreciate that. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up this hour. We'll talk with Joel Penfield coming up at noon. We'll play one more clip from the rookies. We'll hear from R. Mason Thomas and who he's going to be modeling his game after in the NFL.
Not
Mick Schaefer-
3, not 2, 1.
One. That's right.
Yeah.
We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up from not 1, not 2, not 3,
We're not
but
going to
41.
Okay.
41.
I was like, we can't go to 41. Yeah.
KSHB sports director. We got some Learn Funniest Best coming our way as well. R. Mason Thomas talked yesterday, I believe, and he was asked who he models his game after.
Nick Benito. Yeah, that's going to be my number one answer for a long time. Nick Benito is the one of the reasons why I went to OU. Guys that fit my stature, Von Miller, Micah Parsons, Dallas Turner, all those, Dwight Freeney. So looking at those guys and seeing what they do, what works for them, but then also knowing I'm my own person and everything might not work for me. So I, making my own game.
But it kind of adds perspective.
Yeah.
Everything that you need to do.
Absolutely, because college is different from the NFL. So, they like to do a lot of RPO in college. So just the alignment, what they have, what they key, how they play fast. So you could tell like when their helmet is looking at something. So what they're looking at. So just little things to help you. In college you probably had a key, your eyes somewhere else.
College is different from the NFL. College likes to do an RPO. Boy, R. Mason, do I have news for you. Do I have news for you at training camp this year as a rookie in the NFL? The NFL is much different than college. College, they like to do a lot of RPO. Well, get ready. Thank God you are well schooled in that.
That's what got him drafted.
Look how good he is against the RPO. We can really use him in training camp.
It's funny, like Nick just following Nick Benito.
Yeah, to the AFC West. In fact, first game of his NFL career will be going up. Well, the other side will be Nick Benito.
Wow,
it's pretty cool. Nobody ever says they model their game after somebody that sucked, but I appreciate him looking at Nick Benito and Micah Parsons and Dwight Freeney, players like that.
I really followed
please.
after Taco Charlton.
Nice pull, dude. First round draft pick Taco Charlton. That's who I've really modeled my game after.
Yeah.
I feel like he got a bad rap, It's just the opportunity wasn't there for him. But I'm going to show that his style of play really works. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, hanging out with Joel Penfield here on this Monday, One Royal Way podcast here in the zone. Joel, what's up, brother?
Glad to be here as always.
Well, we appreciate you hanging out with us. It's a little late in the season for this, but the Royals did the 4-game series split that we've been asking them to do for a while. You know, the one you feel better about coming out of. Instead of winning the first 2, losing the next 2, they lost the first 2 and then won the next 2. Hey, what a great 4-game split for this Royals team.
And a 7-game week where every game was decided by 1 run. They went 5-2 in those games.
Unbelievable.
Just a wild week of baseball.
Yeah, which is really all they've done all year, is just find ways to win games. That's what we've said about this team, really.
Find ways to win games, also find ways to lose a lot of them, too.
7-3 after the All-Star break. This is what we thought. This
Yes.
is who they are.
The question is, do you buy now? Are you now aggressive by one more week to see they're within 10 games of the wild card? They're only 9 games out now. They are on fire. They're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, man.
We want to just continue using this tortured NFC South analogy. It's like when the Saints are 3 games, they're 6-8. It's like, hey, they might have a chance. That's basically where we're at.
Well, what happened is I finally started rooting against the Royals this weekend, and then they went and won games.
There you go.
Because I talked about it on Friday, and I'm like, I want the Royals to lose because I want the Tigers to foolishly keep Tariq Skubal. I want them to keep him and not sign him. Therefore, it sets them back a little bit more than if they were to trade him at the trade deadline and get a couple of premier pieces for Tariq Skubal.
I was listening to a podcast for Just Baseball Media. They did like a weekend recap, and one of the guys, Peter Apple, who's been on my shows, when Massey hits the 2-run home run yesterday, he said out loud, I said, "Oh, Skubal's gone." Like that was the moment. And I mean, they have a 3-game series against the Orioles on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they head to Sacramento. So they got, if they lose 2 or 3 to Baltimore potentially, and by the weekend, Tariq Skubal's hopefully a Tampa Bay Ray and going somewhere else.
Yeah. And I say not hopefully. I want him to stay a Tiger.
Well,
not be traded.
Would be funny.
Not be traded where they say, you know what, we're going to make the playoffs this year, and then he's a Dodger next year.
They
anyway.
Ohtani it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Angels did.
That's what we brought up. That's what Sterling and I brought up last night.
Yeah.
Like, where would the Angels be now if they would have traded Ohtani? I don't know that they would be 11.5 games out of the wild card unless they just missed on the prospects that they were going to get for
the
him.
Potential trade package that the Rays actually called the Angels about for Ohtani included Junior Caminero.
Oh,
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah,
but,
nice job, Angels. Well done, guys. Man, that would be at least Junior Caminero would have been traded for something legit at that point, as opposed to what he was traded for as an 18 or 19.
Tobias Myers.
Yeah, Tobias Myers, which, hey, you throw a dart on a live bat for a younger guy, which you can maybe, hit on.
So, yeah, the trade package at that time in 2023 was Ohtani for Junior Caminero, Carson Williams, who's AAA shortstop, and a couple other prospects.
Yeah, Caminero right there. I mean, just makes a difference.
At that time, Caminero was in Double-A, but still, he was breaking out as a top 10 prospect.
He still had the EV in Double-A, and then he just started going crazy. But they wouldn't be looking probably to trade Zach Nato right now either. So it'd be pretty good, a couple pieces in your infield to move forward with. And that's the mistake I want the Tigers to make, is to not trade Tariq Skubal. And now I can root for the Tigers to win now that they're not playing the Royals.
Right.
Because I got a lot of pushback on why would you root against the Royals for the Tigers to win. And it's all about 27 and 28. Because in my mind, I'm imagining the Tigers trading Tariq Skubal, and then in September, they're going up against the Tigers, and whoever they traded Tariq Skubal for comes up with a 2-run home run, and it's like, oh, well, that sucks. That's 2 games in the standings that if they would have just kept Tariq Skubal, nice job winning those games in those last 2 games. Nice job, Massey.
Funny?
You stupid Massey hitting that home run. I'm joking. Massey was a great swing.
The Royals have won or have scored more runs than the Tigers have this year.
There you go.
That is interesting.
They've also given up about 140 more.
No, they don't have Skubal. That's the thing. If you just had Skubal or
Mize
or
Skubal literally gave the Tigers that win on, was that Friday night?
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
pretty awesome. Yep, he was pretty awesome.
I guess the spin zone is I want him to go somewhere else so I can enjoy watching him pitch.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, but that's going to be next year anyway.
Well, that's also true. But for this year, I would want him to go to Tampa and do the CC Sabathia 2008, help them get to the playoffs, and hopefully help them actually win a championship. Because I think the Rays could be set up to do that if they get through the American League.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yes.
I'm intrigued by Nate Pearson.
Yeah.
That's not really a question. That was
That's
a statement. That was the
right.
definition of a statement. But
Question: I'm intrigued by Nate Pearson.
You just Ron Burgundy did.
hey,
Like-
hey,
Yes,
Joel,
you are.
statement for you. I'm intrigued by Nate Pearson.
Same. I mean, it's 96 to 98. That's a great dart throw, right? And it was for a high A reliever that has I think he had the ERA was like 2.01. I was like, oh, that's interesting. The FIP is 4.2, and they traded him for Nate Pearson. So it's a worthy dart throw. And no matter what position the Royals are in the standings, that's the type of move they need to be making. Just bet on the velocity, bet on the tools, and see if they're able to tweak something. And the thing he needs to tweak is a breaking ball. He just doesn't really have a great one. But if there's one thing that Brian Sweeney and company have been good at for their entire Royals tenure, it is tweaking and developing sliders. And maybe that helps the fastball play up a little bit more, get a little more swing and miss with that pitch, add some strikeouts to the velocity there. I mean, it's certainly intriguing. It was just one outing. He walked a guy, but again, fastball was 96 to 98. And I want to see what they're able to do with him as they go forward. And if it works and he's actually good, he still has club control for another season. And if he's bad, it's a quick DFA and it's no skin off your back.
Yeah, if he can, and you hope to where, if you got him from the Brewers, I'd be a little more skeptical.
Right.
But, and not that the Astros don't know what they're doing, but, get him in with the Royals pitching staff, which has been pretty good at figuring some things out with Burdick and Kolek and those guys. Obviously, it's been bad news with the arm from that standpoint. But, Milwaukee gets somebody, and hey, now they figure out how to get this guy to throw strikes.
Tampa, the same thing.
The same thing. And the Royals have proven over the last few years that the pitching development is much different than what it was before.
Correct.
That maybe this is a guy that you tap into figuring out what's going on. They figured out Aroldis Chapman, and now he's a different Aroldis Chapman and still doing the things that they told him to do, that they fixed with his delivery.
Right. They let him, he kind of engaged in his lower half a little more, was able to get some of the velocity. His velocity had started to diminish. Now he's got that back, and he's, 37, still throwing 99, 100 miles an hour. It's insane.
So, yeah, there's something to be said. And look, you're right. You make these moves, you see what happens, because they've got to revamp their entire bullpen next year.
Correct.
I mean, they've got a lot of moves to make for next year, and my worry is that the front office looks in the mirror and thinks that they have a team that's ready to contend next year for a division.
That's why I don't want them to keep winning, because I don't want them to. Yes, we want the Royals to win because it's more fun, but if they keep winning, what do we think the front office is going to do? They're going to do what they always do and say, well, without that bad month, no, this is who we are.
They'll blame it on all of the injuries. And
and now we'll be healthy, and Cole Reagans will be back mid-season, and
Bergert will be back, and Kolek will be back by the All-Star break, and yada.
Yeah, we'll see.
That belies the fact that they were terrible.
Yeah,
and they were losing all these games.
Lugo will figure it out.
Right.
You can't trade Waka, because those guys are going to start next year. Who is? Let me ask you this then, Ed, and just leading into that, because we're a week away from the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And at The Athletic today, Jim Bowden had his best fits for teams that are buyers, and there were 2 Royals listed in best fits. The Phillies' best fit is Lane Thomas. I liked that one.
They need a right-handed hitter.
They need a right-handed
I think
hitter.
Seattle will be a slam dunk for Lane Thomas.
Yeah.
They desperately need outfield help and right-handed hitting.
Yep.
Because they whiffed on Rob Refsnyder, so they can go and get Lane Thomas, and that would probably fit that role.
And he went with a reunion. The best fit for the Cardinals is Michael Wacha. So at least there were
Cardinals
2.
are in a really weird spot.
Yes,
I don't know if they're going to buy or sell.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But
because they overachieved to some degree this year, but I don't know if they're going to go for it.
I mean, at least there's a couple Royals named. And I think Lane Thomas is a guy that's going to be, because of the way he's playing now, thankfully, the way he's hitting, which is great because it's increasing his trade value for the Royals, that he's playing like this, getting more everyday playing time with, Isbell being out and coming up and proving and hitting for power. That, maybe you get a little bit more. Maybe you've increased it by 20% of whatever you would have got from Lane Thomas at the trade deadline when you signed him if you were bad. And I don't know what they're going to get from Michael Wacha. The contract is doable for a team that is acquiring him with $14 million next year.
Absolutely.
For somebody that you're like, okay, this guy's going to eat innings every 5 days. He's going to be out there and he's going to go 6 innings and throw a quality start. And all we're paying is $14 million. That's right around that, or maybe more than what you would pay on the open market for that guy, which is probably why the Royals may not be looking to trade Michael Wacha, because they would say, well, we gotta pay for that guy anyway, but you would also then pay for that guy but not have the prospects that you would have if you had Wacha.
The tricky part is with all of the injuries that have taken place for the pitching staff and all of them that are long-term injuries, like Reagan's isn't going to be back until All-Star break next year. Collier post All-Star break.
Yeah. Do we know? I mean, is there an update? Do we know if it's Tommy John yet?
I was at the game. It was last week, like after we found out that Collier was going on the shelf. And they said it's potentially surgical route. So I'm running with the assumption that. And they immediately put him on the 60-day IL.
Yeah.
So
if it's Tommy John, then he's not going to be back next year.
Right.
So
and even if it's a minor
even
if it's a more minor procedure, probably still not going to be ready for the beginning of the year. Bergert, maybe he's back by May, early June.
I hope.
You have right now guaranteed should you trade Wacha and or Lugo or both, if someone is willing to take on some of that contract money with Lugo, it's Noah Cameron, it's Luinder Avila. After that, who do you have?
Yeah.
Right. It is a kind of a weird spot when it comes to who is on your opening day, who starts for you on opening day, who's there. So that's why I think they're probably going to maybe foolishly or not, I think they're going to hold on to both of them because they need innings from somewhere.
Yeah.
And they would have to trade a whole bunch to try and get starting pitching. That's an expensive trade to make in the offseason. And if you really want guys that are worth something and not just innings eaters, you want some kind of frontline rotation type. That's a pretty penny on the free agent market. So I think they're going to end up holding on to him unless they're just wowed by a deal.
The more I've thought about it, the more I would understand keeping Lugo, just because I don't think
I don't think anyone's going to take on that.
I don't think anyone's going to take on the contract.
Or if a team is like, yeah, we'll take him on, but you're gonna have to eat 80% of the money or write us a check, and then you're at that point you're getting a high A dart throw.
I'll eat the money this year, but I can't eat the money next year.
Right.
Yeah,
but I would even unload the contract.
I would.
I'd eat the money this year to unload the contract so I can get $20 million next year, go and spend on somebody that I feel like could be more valuable than what you're getting from Lugo since he signed the deal.
I agree. I just don't think anyone's doing that. Is my guess. Is I think my point.
Yeah.
Wacha, I think I would want, because as good as he still has been, I think you get something decent for Wacha. Like I think
we may overvalue Wacha a little bit compared to the rest of the league. I don't think, because he's not a frontline game 1, game 2 starter for you in a playoff series.
No, he's game 3.
But there is value in what he provides in. I'm going 6 innings of 2-run ball pretty much every game.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to give you, and I'm going to give you stability in your rotation. And he's been really durable for the last 3+ seasons, especially being in Kansas City. So you have at least somewhat of not a guarantee, because there's no guarantees with pitchers, but you know what you're going to get. But I think the return may be a little less than maybe we realize, which is maybe a reason why they do hold on to him, because they're not going to get what they believe to be requisite value for what Michael Wacha has been.
Is it realistic? And it would be faster than what would be expected, but I say realistic. Not predictable, but realistic that next year Churio could make his debut.
I don't think it's crazy to think that he could.
Yeah.
He hasn't been challenged at any level.
Right, he's at high A right now. I'm hoping that they move him to Double A before the season is over, because if they do, then I think there's a chance he makes his debut next year.
So the thing that
because he's pitched 6 games in high A right now. Sorry, go ahead.
I think what the Royals are going to run into, because he's 18 years old. He doesn't turn 19 until October.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I think they are probably going to start winding his innings down a little bit and just preserve that, because he threw 50-something last year between the DSL complex and Columbia, and then between Columbia and Quad Cities this year, it's 75.
78 and 2/3.
78 and 2/3 now. So I bet he maybe gets another couple of starts, and then they start to shut it down, would be my guess. I have no intel.
So maybe
there.
he starts next year at Double A?
I think he starts next year at Double A, because he's already proven to be almost too good for High A.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
without really the secondaries being any, like, they've been good, but
of the legit prospects, he probably has the best control in all of minor league baseball.
Yes.
Like, he walks nobody.
And the fastball's 97, 98.
Yeah. He had 99 in the Futures game when he struck out whoever it was
Condon.
Yeah, that's right, Condon.
And I'm watching. I watched his start on Saturday. I watched clips of the previous start where he had 10 strikeouts and 5 hitless innings, and the fastball's getting in zone whiff. He has the feel to spin the ball with the breaking ball, the changeup. Got to tweak it a little bit. I think he probably needs to add either a cutter or a sinker because he throws the fastball hard, but it's pretty flat. Like there's not a lot of run or ride to it. But I think if he's able to develop something like that in the offseason, that really could unlock something. And I wouldn't be shocked if at 19 years old he's pitching in Kansas City at some point next year. I wouldn't be shocked. And I also wouldn't send him to AAA. I would just go straight from Northwest Arkansas because AAA is a joke.
And I think pitching is intriguing in the sense of you only have so many bullets, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think they could limit some of the innings.
Like hitting, I feel like it makes more sense to get some
more and
seasoning.
more and more and more. Yeah.
Your pitcher, I get it because when Greinke got called up at 20,
mm-hmm.
and he had a really good rookie year, but then it almost felt like, and Greinke's a unique situation because of.
Right. But I think part of it, too, is like one of the things they've talked about with Avila and getting more seasoning for him is as you get older, like you've got to learn how to control the running game. Like you've got to pitch and you've got to pitch well and you've got to have stuff. But when you get to the big leagues, there's about 10 other things that you're doing on the mound besides just throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Whereas in low A and high A, it's we just need you to throw the ball. We need you to learn
throw strikes.
We need you to learn how to be a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older and closer to the big leagues, it's we need you to learn how to play the game and all aspects, which includes the running game. Now, maybe he's good at that. I don't know. But that's something they've talked about with Avila and something they want to see him continue to improve upon because those are the next steps for him is, okay, you can see that the stuff is playing. They thought he was a starter. He's more of a starter now than I thought he would be. But they don't think he's controlling the running game to the degree that they feel like that has to happen before you rely on a guy every 5 days to be in your rotation, not because there are 3 guys missing because of injury.
Yeah, and with Churio, like I hope people understand how unprecedented what he is doing is. Like there's really not a comp for it to be a guy that's 18 years old and really hitting no speed bumps in his professional career. To this point, he got knocked around a little bit in Columbia, but again, the strikeout to walk ratio for that level at 17 years old was unbelievable. The strikeout to walk ratio, and now bumping up a level, and one of the biggest jumps in the minors is getting to high A and then high A to double A, and really not missing a beat, not walking guys. It was 5 innings of 1-run ball, threw a fastball that just stayed middle and gave up a home run, but it was 5 innings of 1-run ball. And that was like oh man, I don't even know if he pitched that well, and he's still, that's what he's doing at high A.
Yeah, 30 innings, he's got 35 strikeouts, 5 walks.
Multiple 10 strikeout outings in high A as well with limited walks.
Limited walks. Yeah, that's right. He's not just all over the place where he's walking guys and they don't know where it's going, and every once in a while it's in the zone and you miss it. And no, they know that he's throwing strikes, and he's still getting strikeouts.
And he just got signed by the Royals last winter. Yeah. Like what he what he is doing is unprecedented, but what he did last year was even more so because he went from the Dominican Summer League to the complex for one start, and then it was okay. You're going to Columbia, and that just doesn't happen. And that's not just Royal specific. That's across baseball. You don't see guys go from the Dominican to stateside to affiliated ball in the same year. That just does not happen.
How big is this for the Royals, whose farm system has been fairly depleted and the bottom half, but bottom 5, I think by a lot of metrics. And then you now see Kendry Churio doing this, Josh Hammond doing what he's doing. I know it's always one of those situations where it's easy to say, well, the magazine said they're 29th, so they have to be bad. And then you see guys eventually come through. But the Royals need this bad with how the major leagues look right now.
Right.
It was a dearth of talent. Now we're looking at potential a frontline starter in Churio, a potential impact bat in Hammond, where I don't know if we saw this maybe even last year.
No, I think the problem for the Royals farm system for the last previous to this year really was they had a bunch of guys that you looked at as, oh, that guy can play in the big leagues, but no real impact beyond that. Like the Carter and Jack exceptions to the rule there. But like guys that like more of like the Nick Lofton types.
I was just about to say
like
Nick Lofton,
guys that can play in the big leagues, but there's not really either a defined role or the ceiling is really low. Now you have not as many guys that are in that camp, but you have more upside guys like Churio. David Shields is a mid-rotation guy. Hammond super toolsy. Sean Gamble's been better as late. I know the back of the baseball card does not look great for the full season, but he's hit 270 for the last month and a half and looks like, and he's super tooled up center fielder. And then guy, to kind of keep an eye on, he's still in the Dominican Summer League. I bet he makes his stateside debut next year. Angel Gomez, who just hit the top 100. Kid looks like a freak center field future type. Really hard to tell because he's 17 years old in the Dominican Summer League, but the way what I'm reading from scouts, people that cover this stuff, is like the kid's the real deal. So he's a name to watch. So and now you have this draft class with guys like Rose, Rabe, Slydom that they've tried to build this farm system around as well. That I think it's trending in the right direction, which is a long road to a short point. That we're seeing this thing build up a little bit more when it was pretty depleted once the Bobby, Vinny, Michael class sort of got to the big leagues.
Yeah, let me get back to then, as we're a week away from the trade deadline. If they move on from Waka or Lugo,
right?
Who's starting next year? And is that where it's forcing the hand of JJ, where he's going? Even if we may not be competing next year, which I don't think he's ever going to look in the mirror and say there's a year in 27 that we're not going to compete,
right?
With the players that they have. But who would be starting next year? Because, as you said, Cole Reagans isn't going to start the year. Berger's not going to start the year. If Kolek is having a procedure, and if it's Tommy John, he's not going to be there at all next year.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Cameron and Avila. I mean, who else? I mean, Kuderner's missed a season now to where that was a full year of what could have been development, and maybe he was a guy that could have progressed into, all right, he's now a Berger-type player, but he's not there. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. They would have to obviously go out and get somebody in the offseason. If they moved Lugo, they would have money to do that. But that's why I think maybe the forest for the trees for the Royals is, well, if we trade Lugo and Waka, then who are we going to have start next year? I don't know who you start or who you sign in the offseason or who you trade for in the offseason.
So this is this is the team I thought of, and this is the conversations I had just like not even with intel, just spitballing what did the Royals do? Seattle has said that they're willing to trade some of their starters. They have a wealth of those guys, and they still have Ryan Sloan and Kate Anderson that could come up, and they're younger cost control. Maybe, if you wanted to throw together like Lane Thomas and Daniel Lynch, and maybe you get like a prospect and take on some of the money from like Luis Castillo, who's not had a great year, also bounced between the rotation in the bullpen. They've done this piggyback thing. It's weird, but maybe just giving him starts, and he's been as durable as any starter in the big leagues for the last half decade. A guy like that, or Emerson Hancock, who they've been willing to float out there as well, and trade. Maybe you're not going to get the prospect haul, but you're getting somebody in the rotation that you can throw in there for the next, in Castillo's case, year and a half. I think there's 4 years with Hancock, something like that.
He's had a really nice year.
He has. He's really become like he had been okay. This is the year he really broke out. Castillo has not been as good this year, but the track record of he's going to give you 32 starts a year. Whenever they've actually decided to have him in the rotation, if nothing else, it's just a body that you can throw.
This was his first bad,
truly rough year.
I mean, he has been a low 3 to mid 3 at the worst.
Yes,
with some in the 2s, and then all of a sudden this year goes, hey, what about a 4.85 on Yes? I mean, I don't know what happened.
And they've tried doing this weird like piggyback thing where they had like Bryce Miller and or Logan Gilbert go 5 and then have Castillo come out and throw 3 or 4. It's been kind of odd. But maybe just change of scenery, and hey, you're going to be in our rotation every 5th day might change something for Castillo. But that would be something I would consider.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to look at 4.85 and go, oh my God, that's freaking terrible. How do you have somebody going out there every 5 days with the 4.85? And you go, well, I mean, look at the Royals rotation right now. How do you have somebody go out there every 5 days with a 4.85? I mean, Lugo's got a 4.4. We're talking about a few
4.93 for Cameron, 4.83 for or 4.81 for Avila. I mean,
4.4 for Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like man, 4.
They just need warm bodies for the rest of this year, and hopefully in a couple of it for next year.
Is Randy Dobnik going to be a dude? Like,
Mr. Dobek.
Mr.
Dobek. Mr. Dobek.
I'm not saying like a dude isn't like, oh yeah, this
Robin.
guy's a stud, but like I'm saying, is he a guy who could be a 5th starter, 4th starter next year? The issue is the Royals have a plethora of 4th and 5th starters.
That's the problem. It's like if he was a true 4th, 5th starter, then that's fine.
I mean,
but
he's not a 1.42 ERA guy, but he had a track record 5 years ago of solidness.
Listen, he's doing a job. They're like, hey man, get us through 5 and don't blow up, and he hasn't at all.
Yeah.
Like I've been impressed. Shout out to him for sticking with it for as long as he has in the big leagues.
We'll ask again next week, and maybe moves have already been made. But who gets moved on this team?
Schreiber, Thomas, Marte. I'm forgetting somebody else.
Does anyone want Strom?
Probably not.
Does Lynch?
Do they move Lynch?
I think they should, because I don't think his stock will ever be higher. Massey could be an intriguing one. He's a 104 weighted runs created plus and a elite defender at second base, and second base is a massive black hole on offense for a lot of contenders.
Or is that somebody that they feel like is now their guy?
But again, also his stock may never get higher.
Yeah.
And
But
there's
they don't do
always the
that.
looming injury around the
They
corner.
don't do that. The Royals, I'm with you. They should trade Massey. His stock will not be higher. And that means they won't trade Massey because his stock will never be higher.
I know. I'm afraid they're going to Scott Barlow it with Daniel Lynch. I'm afraid they're gonna. I'm afraid they're gonna hold on to Massey a little bit too long, and then his back flares up again. And I think he's a good player. And don't get me wrong, if he's still around next year, then I'll still believe like, okay, at a minimum, it's a platoon with him and Lofton. At maximum, he's able to play almost every day.
He's a fine player. He's a fine player.
Exactly. With what he has been this year, an above league average hitter, an elite defender, like those are hard to come by, but it's also at second base where it is very easy to find those types of guys that are either a really good hitter or a good enough hitter and an average defender, or they're not really going to hit much, but they're going to play awesome defense.
The Royals have to decide for themselves if Michael Massey, who, is now, 28 years
28.
old, so he'll be 29 next
I think
year.
2.5 years of control.
Yeah. If the swing adjustments and stance took a while for him to get used to, and now his last 45 games, he's a 300 hitter.
Yeah.
And 360 on base and almost a 500 slug, to where he's sitting at 840 OPS in his last 45 games and would be pacing for almost 20 home runs from second base and 36 doubles and a 300 hitter. Or is he this guy and he's on a hot streak and let's move him because somebody might look at it and go, okay, Michael Massey is going to come in and help us because he's a guy that maybe hits 20 home runs and maybe he's a 60 extra base hit guy and bats 300 and plays a Gold Glove second base. Great. We're going to get value for that because the Royals aren't trading him at that level. We're projecting he will be that level, but we can get him cheaper. And if not, then we're a good team and we can move on from him. Whereas if the Royals keep him, they're relying on him to then be their second baseman moving forward next year. But if he is this guy, then do you get enough back in return for what you'd be trading away?
So I think if there were other guys that were still healthy that they could have potentially moved, and that's been some of the issue, is a lot of their guys that they could have potentially moved are on the shelf. I think it may necessitate if we need something. Like we need some AA help. We need some guys in AAA that are close that may be able to help us. And Massey's our best way to get some of those guys to help our upper minors talent. Then they may have to make the move even if they don't want to.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, at least for the rest of this year, like Nick Lofton has shown, he can play a little bit and be close to an everyday guy, at least for the rest of this season.
It would be rough, though, to have Massey around and deal with the injuries and around and around and around. And now he starts to break out, and then you move him, and he's got a couple more years of control.
And I'm not necessarily advocating that like they have to trade him, but if they did, I would totally understand why.
No, I would too. And I think the point is, like, are we looking at Michael Massey's last 45 games as that's who he is? Or are we looking at the rest of the other 400 games that he's played in his career as that's who he is, as a guy who's OPS'd at, even with this year included, 680 OPS. Even with this year included, he's a career 248 batting average.
Yeah.
So is that who he is for 400 games or these 45? I would tend to think that he's the 400 games as opposed to these 45, and especially a guy who's been often injured. And if somebody's willing to give up some value, then I think it's a move you have to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
And say that, finally they are seeing somebody play at a level that a team would covet, and you are able to trade closer to maximum value with Michael Massey. The only way it would be more maximum value is if he plays like this the rest of the way and even maybe gets hotter, and then in the offseason somebody goes, we got a couple of years with that guy, we'll trade you something for him at second base. That'd be the only way that it's higher than what it is right now because of how he's been swinging the bat. And he had the home run yesterday that helped him win the game. And that
was left on left, too.
Yeah, and that swing looks good. I mean, it's that's what you'd be giving up is if he would have done this last year, changed his stance and changed his swing, and then you saw a stretch where he was good, and then he went back to being Michael Massey, like MJ changed his swing, and MJ looks good with his new swing, and then he was MJ. Once bitten, twice shy with that, with Michael Massey and his stance and bending a little bit more as opposed to being so straight up and down. That if he's figured something out, he's always sort of had that talent that was there to not just be hopefully hitting for the fences and not trying to hit a home runs every time, which is why he hit the home run yesterday, because he was just trying to hit it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's tapped into something more ceiling this year. But again, I think it's one of those situations where there's always, unfortunately, an IL stint looming around the corner for him with something. And right now, he has been as healthy as he has been at pretty much any point in his big league career. At what point does the other shoe drop with that? And do you try and just maximize and try and get something for him now?
Maximize.
Yeah.
I think you should maximize, yes. Do they trade Waka or Lugo?
No.
Okay, they're both
I don't
back.
think so.
And, man, I meant to get into this much earlier, but sorry, I know we're almost out of time. Salvi, number 2 all-time Royals? We were asked that last night on Sundays, and we talked about it on Friday. We went through and discussed, okay, so it's George Brett, who's number 2, and we all sort of agreed that Salvi's number 2, and people can argue between Frank White and Willie Wilson and AO and whoever else, but Salvi is number 2, and I think it's pretty clear.
That was the coolest individual accomplishment for any Royal since George Brett hit his 3,000th hit, is my opinion on that.
I like that. That's
you have
cool.
Greinke Cy Young in 09.
I was going to say Greinke Cy Young is up there.
But I think
I would say it was such a bad year, but then, this year.
Right.
Present season excluded.
But that was I think that's almost in a separate bucket. George Brett's home run record stood for 40 years.
Yeah.
And then was broken, and now Salvi's going to have it for who knows how long.
Mm-hmm. What about Moustakas getting past Balboni and then Soler and Salvi? Because the Balboni, the George Brett record and the Balboni record was how has that stood for so long at that little a number?
That's kind of it's one of those kind of damning with faint praise in a way.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, you broke the record.
It was 36?
It was 36.
Yeah.
And then Moose hit 38, and then Soler hit 48, and then I think
Salvi 48.
And then Salvi at 48 2 years later.
Yeah, so it was 19 and 21 because 20. If you hit 48 home runs in 2020, that would have been an amazing season. 48 home runs in 60 games. That would have been tough for that season to be cut short.
And somehow your OPS would have been less than Barry Bonds was. There's always that stat where
he might have hit 48 in that 60 game season. All right, so Waka and Lugo are back and on this team after the trade deadline. That would be somewhat disappointing for sure.
Yeah, but again, they need innings from somewhere, and I say that not like I am advocating that is the move they need to make, but I see the.
It's not what you do. It's
not what I would do. It's what I
gonna,
think is going to happen, and why they would do what they would do.
Salvi play next year, or this accomplishment is done. He sees the end of his time. Quatrero was pretty emotional talking about Salvi. If that means maybe Quatrero knows that it's towards the end for Salvi making the decision, do we think Salvi has a come to Jesus moment at the end of this year and says, I don't want to be this guy next year?
And I think it's really interesting because he had the quote, and I'm sure he didn't think about it at the time, and maybe we didn't overlooked it a little. Remember what he said after Venezuela won the WBC? When he was like, I could retire now. He said that, and at the time I was like, oh, that's interesting. And now that we see this and we see the emotion and all of that and how awesome that moment was, they gave him, the players standing around him. I'm like,
that was cool. The players around him.
I'm thinking about it a little more of, maybe he had that in his mind and he said it, and now that it's kind of getting to this point, he's broken the record, he's done all these things. It's like, I wonder if he has reached that point.
And he's playing at this level, and he's not the everyday catcher.
Correct.
And he's battling injuries more. And he's playing more first base and probably not what he wants to catch every day. And he doesn't want to go out there and look at a 200 on the board.
He's going to look – I mean, if he is back next year, it's going to be almost exclusively as a DH in first base playing against lefties. I don't know if he plays every day.
He'd be the backup catcher to Carter.
It'd be almost like what the Cardinals did with Pujols in 22.
Yeah.
Where it's just or Miggy at the end in Detroit, where he's not playing every day. He's the veteran leader still at the end. Everyone kind of knows it's at the end.
Yeah, but do you want to be do you want your last year in the big leagues to be a mascot? to a degree.
But it doesn't end. It doesn't end pretty for everyone. You know, like I said, Pujols had that at the end. Miggy had it at the end. Like
Miggy had it for 6 years.
But there's also that he was also hurt a bunch.
It was mostly. I mean, I love Miggy, but it was about a 6-year.
They gave him that contract, and it was just immediately
2017 on.
Like, it doesn't end like Big Papi. Papi's 2016 was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end that way for everybody. And, I think, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I think Salvi should catch 2 games in 2027 if he's around. He catches opening day, and he catches the final game of the season.
Yeah.
And you give him those moments.
What if for the playoffs?
Hey,
no, that's,
what do you do? What do you do?
Because you give him the last game of the regular season, but you don't.
But it's win or go home. You're still giving it to him. You're sitting Salvi.
If you can find a way to make sure Carter's still in the lineup and Jack and whoever else you need to be in the lineup, then
I'm just trying to catch him in a
right.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. George's final year before he hung it up in '93, batted .266. He OPS'd at almost .750, 19 home runs, 31 doubles, only struck out 67 times, 75 RBIs. So, in George Brett terms, that's bottoming out. But
for almost
anybody else, he's at a 750,
40 at that point.
750 OPS, and he hated the game, and he didn't want to go to the ballpark anymore.
What was that? I'm gonna look up where. 1 second, hold please. His OPS plus that year was
94.
94.
I could have told you that. I had it right.
Oh, sorry.
My bad. It's 94. Hold please. 94. So he was almost. And his first time it was under 100 besides his first full year in baseball. So I do want to play the clip on the other side of the break. George Brett this morning on with A New Day. And as we're talking about Salvi, George was asked, when did you know it was time to hang it up? Even when you had a season like that where you could still play baseball. As a 40-year-old, you're OPSing 750 as a 40-year-old. Joel, you're the man. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll talk next week when we're at trade deadline. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear George Brett weigh in on, Salvi, whether he retires at the end of this year or not. It's up to him. But what was it that when George Brett knew it was time for him to hang it up and be done playing baseball, even though he was still productive? More Zone next. him. I don't know that Salvi ever envisions him not playing the game. But things change as you get older. Now, Salvi's played 15 years. George Brett played 21. So you're talking about another 6 years after this year for Salvi to be playing when finally George said, I'm 40 years old. It's time to, hang him up. So he was on this morning with a New Day because he was there in Cooperstown with Carlos Beltran going into the Hall of Fame because Cooperstown was yesterday, which, by the way, when Salvi goes into the Hall of Fame, I would love to take the show on the road and do the zone from Cooperstown. Calling bids. Call dibs. Dibs on that. Putting in a bid right now with Chad. Dibs this show right now. Tenure. Damn it. Seniority. Son of a. But that'd be cool when he goes into the Hall of Fame, whenever that is, because I do think he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. But here's George Brett on This Morning with a New Day, and he was asked, George, you knew that 93 was your last year. We knew it was your last game, all of that stuff. What happened, and in your mind, what was going on when you knew that it was time to retire?
When you dread going to the ballpark, and that's what happened to me. I used to pride myself on being the first one there and one of the last guys to leave the locker room. And all of a sudden, I would take a nap at, I'd normally get there about, I'd say 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But now players do that all the time because they have food there. They feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the ballpark. We didn't have any food there, so I had to go out and have lunch every day or make lunch at home. And all of a sudden, that last year, I remember taking a nap every day about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'd tell my wife, I'm going to take a nap for an hour. And then I'd get up about 2:30, and then I would go I'd say, oh, God, I can't believe we have another game today. I mean, I dreaded going to the ballpark. I wasn't the same player. My skills had declined, and I'll be the first to tell everybody that. And we weren't a good team, and it was just frustrating. And I was the oldest. I was 40 years old, and we had a lot of young guys. We had a lot of guys that had different interests on the team than I did. Back then, everybody went back to the room and played Nintendo golf in the room, and I would go out and have a couple beers and a sandwich with the coaches because they were more my age. And it just got to a point where baseball wasn't fun anymore. It was an easy decision for me, easy decision to retire. Plus, I don't think people are playing that long anymore, mainly because they make so much damn money they don't have to. And back when I played, you didn't make that much money. I mean, it was a lot of money back then. But nowadays, you're making $25-30 million a year. Well, Salvi doesn't have to work a day the rest of his life. So it just depends. If the desire to go there and compete is still in his body, I would do that. But I lost that desire. I lost that feeling. I always had 3 goals, and every time I went to the ballpark, no one was going to hustle more than me. That was easy. No one's going to have more fun. That got hard. And my 3rd goal was to be the best player in the field. And that wasn't happening like it used to earlier in my career. And so that's what it was easy for me. And I don't know what drives Salvi. If money drives him, or if performance drives him, or just being around the camaraderie with the guys, if that drives him, it's gonna be a tough question to see if he, how many more years he plays.
It's very candid stuff from George Brett, because you go back to 93 and you don't know that's going on with, an all-time legend, first ballot Hall of Famer, to where he said he would dread going to the ballpark. Instead of getting there early, he'd get there by 2 o'clock. Then that last year, 1:30 comes around and he's taking a nap. And then he wakes up from the nap and go, God, we got another game today? Like, I got to go out to the ballpark? This sucks, And he said, the 3 goals that he had every time he went to the ballpark, to be the hardest worker. He said that wasn't a problem, hustling and working hard. Having fun, he said, became more difficult, and be the best player on the field, which wasn't the case, his last year in baseball. And interesting, he's talking about like the difference in the age of some of the players. So he was a 40-year-old. Mike McFarland behind the plate was 29. Chico Leand was 29. Gagne and Joyner, older guys, were 31. Gaetti was 34. BMAC was 25. But then the younger guys, the backups, Brent Maine was 25, Phil Hyatt was 24, David Howard was 26 years old. And then the pitching staff was Apier was 25, Haney was 24, Pichardo was 23, Cone was 30, Montgomery was 31, but you're still talking about 9 years, almost a decade difference, even between the oldest guys and George Brett being a 40-year-old, and the oldest guys on the fielding side was Kevin McReynolds was 33 years old and George Brett was 40. You're talking about 7 years. The guys would go back and play. By the way, not to date yourself, but like guys would go back and play Nintendo, and I'm going out and having a beer.
Kids in their video games.
They're Nintendo.
Right?
These kids going back and playing this damn Nintendo. I had Atari,
and I'd be out there being like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have a beer too. I'll be the young guy. Like, the beer sounds better.
Have a beer with George Brett and the coaches. Yeah, I'll do that. Or go back and play a video game. Look, everybody's different. You know, what are Salvi's goals when he goes to the ballpark? Who knows what Salvi's goals are? Everybody's sensibilities are different. I don't know that I can imagine Salvi not having fun at the ballpark. You know what I mean? Where he would dread going to the ballpark. But that may be the case if he's, swinging the bat like he is right, although he's hitting more home runs.
I'm going to say right now, he's
swinging
actually,
the bat right now. He's having a lot of fun.
A little better, yeah.
Yeah, he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. So not just that he hasn't been bad, like he's been like pretty damn good the last couple of weeks. But, that can maybe, push you for the next month or so. But when you get into the offseason, are you still doing everything that you do in the offseason? And maybe Salvi is just tired or worn down this year because of the WBC. Maybe Bobby Witt's body breaks down a little bit more because of the WBC. Maybe Vinny is a little more tired because of the WBC. Like maybe some of these things are correlated, that this year with having those guys that played so much baseball and played longer, you had Salvi in Team Venezuela, Bobby with USA, and Vinny with the Team Italy all played, the most games? Like those guys were all playing the most games because they played so long into the tournament. Now, also Jack Caglione, and he's been fine, although, body a little bit with the shoulder, but that's also playing right field. Maybe the offseason, having a full offseason, maybe not playing in the Venezuelan League and not worried about the WBC. Maybe he comes back next year a little more refreshed and maybe has that, this is my last year of contract, this is my last year, I'm going to enjoy it and just embrace it and understand this is my final year in baseball. But it would also need to be embracing I'm the backup catcher.
And that's what I think is going to be hard.
Yeah. Carter's the catcher, and I'm the Freddie Fermin of Freddie Fermin a couple of years ago, not even last year.
Yeah. And
I'm the Freddie Fermin
how many
catching every 3 or 4 days.
Wonder how many bats Freddie Fermin had that year. I just want to look it up real quick.
It's a good question. I bet I beat you.
He had... Well, you got to
Freddie Fermin had 108 or 192, but 192 with the Royals in the 67 games that he played.
Okay, the year prior in 24, he had 368.
Yeah, 24 is closer because 25 he played a little bit more because he was swinging the bat much better, so they had to put him in the lineup.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's a guy who has 370-ish plate appearances.
But I mean, crap. Fermin still played 111 games. Maybe 23 is closer. Fermin played 70 games. Now, I don't know that he's going to play half the games because I don't think that would Salvi want to only – that's 70 games even if he had to come in and play. That's not just games started. He played 70 total games. And maybe out of the 111, I guess I can go look for Freddie Fermin in 2024.
How many he started versus –
Yeah, he in 2024, he started 72 games at catcher and 18 games at DH. So he started 90 games. Okay. If Salvi starts 90 games and plays in another 21 games – as a guy that comes in and pinch hits or pinch runs for S's and G's. Who knows? Or comes in,
funny.
And plays catcher or whatever. Carter gets pinch hit for or pinch ran, or I don't know why you would do that, but still, you never know. And comes in and plays catcher or double, switch, whatever it might be. I don't know. Is Salvi willing to do that? Because the Royals had damn sure better be willing to do that. And they have to have that conversation with Salvi if he returns next year. But also, I think I'll be watching a little bit more September baseball with Salvi specifically this year because of the unknown if this is Salvi's last game.
Yeah.
And that last home game for the Royals, I think, maybe we'll know by then. Maybe we'll have an idea that, oh, no, this is definitely Salvi's last year, and he's already announced that. But maybe we don't know. And I would want people at the ballpark And when Salvi walks off the field, I would want people to know that's the last time Salvi's walking off the field. I think he's earned that to where you get that ovation, you get the standing of it, you get the crowd celebrating him, a Salvi splash, things like that, whether that's September 27th this year against Cleveland or whoever they end up playing in the last game of the regular season next year.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the last game of the playoffs. That'd be nice.
I normally don't love it.
Last game of the World Series at home. That'd be awesome.
I normally don't love it, but I think certain players get it. Like Derek Jeter deserved it. I'm saying something nice about him. Crazy.
Yeah. But we knew it was George's last game, right? Kissing home plate and all that stuff. Like, we knew
I
that.
think Kobe's last season, I almost like the season sometimes.
Yeah.
I do, because then it gives you people a chance to see you.
Yeah, no matter what time you go, right
Yeah.
throughout the game.
It might be.
So last time we're going to be at the Royals game. The last time I'm going to see Salvi in person.
For me, that was like, I remember seeing Dirk Nowitzki. It wasn't his last game, but it was the last year, and they only had a few games after that. It was in Philly, and I was like, I'm making sure I'm going to go see Dirk Nowitzki play his.
Well, you worked for him, so you were there anyway.
I
so
actually had
just, I'm gonna actually go down and sit in
I
the
guess
seats.
that's true. I was
not going to sit up here with the.
But normally you're working,
looking down
so
my nose at everybody, all these commenters down there. I'm going to sit with them.
It was, but it was one of those things where it's like, so you're at Dirk's last season. It was kind of fun. So I hope that for Salvi, because I would love to get a chance to go as a fan and just watch at least a game later on in what would be his last season. So
It's kind of interesting. George said, and we weren't that good that year either. They won 84 games that year. Just a different thought around that Royals generation. And George Brett going from where he was in the 70s and 80s to early 90s, and then hanging him up and saying we weren't even a good team that year, and they won 84 games. This team
sell my kidney for 84 wins being a bad season.
I don't think you. Oh, being a bad season. I don't think you would. I don't think you'd sell your kidney for 84
we
wins.
saw it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
82 last year,
it was
wasn't it?
82. I don't think you'd sell your kidney for 2 more wins. I don't think so.
Well, which kidney?
The bad one.
The one I don't. The expendable one.
The one I don't
clearly.
use as much.
We'll take a timeout. More's on next. B. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, hanging out with us here on this Monday edition. Hello, Mick.
What's up, fellas? How are you?
Oh, doing just fine. How was the heat? You had to get out
It
in the heat?
wasn't as bad as 2 days ago or even
It's
yesterday.
like Arizona. It's a dry heat, right?
It's a dry heat.
Yeah, that's what they say about Kansas City.
And I mean, I liked going today. You're not fighting the crowds yet.
Mhm.
Starting Wednesday, you'll start fighting the crowds.
Like what
up
kind
there.
of fighting? Like jujitsu?
Yes,
or-
it's mixed martial arts.
Okay.
I'll break it. I'm a wrestler. I'll take him down to the ground more
Yeah.
than just
You're a
lay
ground
on
and
him.
pound kind of
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. Get a submission on the little kid.
That's right. Yeah, take that 10-year-old. That's what I thought, punk. Yeah, that'll teach him to not respect his elders.
So,
You know what I
I
mean?
thought I was going because, I mean, I set the schedule, and about once a week I'll go to camp just to give my crew a break. I was
Oh,
like, you
so
know
nice.
what? I'll go for the
Your-
little UDFA day.
UDFA
because
day.
when I scheduled it, there was no press conference. They're
Right.
probably going to end practice early, and we
Yep.
knew Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be out there.
Perfect.
No real news today. I'll just go cover practice, do a couple stand-ups, and call it good. And then that'll change.
Yeah.
With guys talking, and then of course the news hitting, which it was like 8:45, maybe 8:50 when it started to hit down there, at least to us.
Really?
Yeah, it was everybody's. We're all shooting, guys walking down. All of our phones start blowing up. Like, okay, well, it's going to be a different day today.
Yeah. We're still following the story. There hasn't been an update since earlier today that we have seen, and that is with Mia Bieniemy, who is Eric Bieniemy's wife, was shot last night, and Elijah Bieniemy has been charged with 3 felonies from the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. At approximately 7:32 p.m., deputies responded to a report of a shooting. Deputies located one adult female suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. She was transported to a nearby hospital for treatment of serious injuries. Elijah Zion Bieniemy, 27 of Ashburn, was arrested and charged with malicious wounding, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and discharge of a firearm inside of a dwelling. He was transported to the Loudoun County Adult Detention Center, where he was held without bond. The investigation is ongoing. There is not believed to be any threat to the public. The whole thing is an awful situation. There aren't many more details other than that of discharging the firearm, malicious wounding, striking his mother twice with his gun, and shooting her. And then Eric Bieniemy finding out about it last night. He's not there at practice today. Obviously, who knows when he's going to be back? It's up to the real life stuff that's going to take precedent there. Not knowing what took place, but a couple of things do stand out from this entire awful situation is, one, he wasn't charged with attempted murder, malicious wounding, so not sure what was taking place there. And they didn't say that they had to go and find him and apprehend the subject. They showed up, she was taken to a hospital, he was taken into custody. So maybe it doesn't seem like there was some chase, or he left and ran and tried to
Seems like they
hide out.
know basically what happened.
Kind of what happened.
and they knew it pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yep. He was there, I'm assuming, because
And then it helps,
just
I
by
mein-
looking in the details of what the report
It helps
was.
to thank God she's alive and
Yes.
could fill them in with any details that maybe they didn't have.
Right. No idea what took place, but he shot her twice. Those are the details that we know. Use of a firearm, malicious wounding, and discharging of a firearm within a building. All 3 are felonies for Elijah Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy is back in Virginia with his family. It's an awful situation all around. There's no doubt about it. And the real life thing takes place, and who knows when Bieniemy returns to camp. He'll return to camp whenever he feels comfortable, and things are maybe more quiet with the family, and things are figured out, and his wife is maybe out of the hospital. She's in stable condition right now, which is good. It's the best news of the whole thing, and hopefully stays in stable condition and eventually released. But it's a sad and awful story with a family that something went wrong at some point, and we are now hit with this reality. Eric Bieniemy's hit with this reality of a life-changing situation that took place that will change the course of the family there with the Bieniemys forever at this point. And you've got to deal with that now in real time, and everybody else has to move on and do their job out at St. Joe. Just as any other company, something happens with somebody and they're not there, everybody else in the company then steps up and has to fill in the void, and that's what's going on in St. Joe. Somebody's got to step up and do it.
Yeah, the football side of things, he said it was Joe Blameyer basically was Bieniemy today. He's usually with the running backs and the quarterbacks when they're together and they're in indie drills. Then he'll work his way out to the wide receivers and other positional groups. So Andy talked about the two guys. It was mostly Blameyer stepping in for him. And the real life side of things, I mean, look, there's probably not too many families out there that Andy Reid knows more in football than the Bienemys. Of the 14 years here, this is his 14th year. Andy's year here. 11. Eric Bieniemy's been here for as a position coach and then a coordinator, so he knows the family well. The kid grew up here, went to Olathe Northwest. 27 years old, and so very familiar with the family. He mentioned them both by name, both the mother and the son. And Andy was very direct about it, and that's not something we always see with NFL teams and with the Chiefs. But I think just that familiarity he has with the family made him more comfortable to step up to the mic today. And again, not give all the details he knows. He said, "Look, I might have to defer a couple of your questions." And say, no comment, but he didn't. I mean, he answered them all the best they could. Nobody really asked to get into the details of anything, but he was very straightforward on this. And look, the Chiefs have had plenty of off-the-field issues before where they haven't addressed it head-on. So I just think that familiarity he has with the family made him more comfortable to go up and do that. And it was much appreciated.
Yeah, he wasn't scheduled to talk today, and even if he was scheduled to talk today,
he didn't talk about anything else. By the way, that was the only thing. There was no, "Hey, Patrick Mahomes, day off. What do you think about EJ Smith?" Anything like that. He walked up. He had his paper in his hand, and I was like, "He's going to do what he always does: give an injury report on the day." Didn't he skip that? No time's yours. Just here's what I know.
Yeah, and it's surprising, whether it should be surprising or not. But I thought for sure if he was going to talk today that it would be one of those. We're aware of what's going on, but we're not going to discuss that. I don't want to answer any questions about that. But injury-wise, Mansour Delane is still this or that, or Gillenborg is this. The fact that he wasn't scheduled to talk today, he then goes and talks today specifically about this. It's I don't know, maybe call it a break from the norm from what the Chiefs typically would do, and maybe that's because he's so close with Eric Bieniemy. It's kind of hard to give credit for doing what you would maybe expect somebody to do anyway, but he did show up and talk about it. It's the only thing he talked about.
His first unprompted soundbite talking about sending thoughts and prayers out to the family was 40 seconds long. I've got my editor right here. That's like 5 Andy Reid sound bites a lot of times. And then he asked, a lot of us asked how you're dealing with this, how the team found out, when he found out, and he disclosed all that information. I remember he wouldn't even talk about like when the team lost their bags going to Foxborough one year, and he wouldn't give any details.
So annoyed
about
by
something
that.
just a little like that. And so it was a welcome change to see him open and honest about this. What a tragic deal. What a horrible deal. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It appears she's going to be okay. But you can only imagine what's going on with EB out there and having to deal with all that, and just we don't know exactly what happened, but it sounds like it was all within the family.
And I said this in the first hour because, look, we talk about the real-life stuff that takes place, but then also there is the sports aspect of it. And I don't know when Eric Bieniemy will return to training camp. And it may be a month from now, it may be 6 weeks from now. But it would be hard to then speak out of both sides of your mouth when this entire offseason we've been saying, well, what Eric Bieniemy means in training camp and getting the details and these guys ready to go and, just on these guys constantly and bringing that back, and that was so missed. And, boy, these guys, they've never been around Eric Bieniemy in training camp, and they're going to then go, it'll be fine. It'll be fine if he's not there. They'll figure it out. Well, then which one is it? Is it that they needed the details, they needed Eric Bieniemy to get that out of these players, or it'll be fine? I don't think we could spend an offseason talking about what the impact would be for Eric Bieniemy and then say there will be no impact for this if he's not around the team for a month or longer, however long it is for him. And I want him to take as much time as he
so do I.
needs
and obviously
to.
the quicker he comes back, the better. And that,
right.
like her
Good
condition is is as good as it could be. I think you know if that's the case. But yeah, it was. Andy he said it best today because we asked him like any timetable on the return on the football side. He's like no timetable whatsoever. This is real life. Football's not the top priority.
Yeah, he said what real life is important is more important. I think maybe I was taking notes when he said it, but any timetable, no. Something about real life is more important, which is absolutely true. But I don't know how much of an impact it'll have with the Chiefs. We'll see. But first and foremost is what's going on with Eric Bieniemy and his family. But we'll find out. We heard from Patrick Mahomes on Friday. We played a lot of those clips in the show from what Patrick had to say about him spending more time protecting himself and learning how to do that. And I think part of protecting himself is, Andy even said what Eric Bieniemy's return has meant. And he's like, well, he ran this offense, the different places that he went, and then he was with Ben Johnson. And then he said, and he brought new ideas in as well. So there's an impact for Eric Bieniemy being on the team from an offensive side of it. But if Patrick Mahomes is saying, what I've taken away from this and how I'm going to be better or different is I have to protect myself. I can't be, running as much, get rid of the ball, and if my first read is there, or if all else fails, just hand it off to K9 and let him go to work. But I think part of that is also Eric Bieniemy in making sure that everybody around Patrick is more in charge of protecting Patrick Mahomes than Patrick Mahomes is. Because Patrick Mahomes will never protect himself if you have to have a first down late in the game to win any game, and it's 3rd and 8, and he's running and has to get the first down, and he's got to lower his shoulder with that linebacker, he will never protect himself.
He's going to err on the side of making the play.
I think he would do it in a preseason game. I think he'd just be like, I want this win.
But no matter what week of the regular season, he's going to lower the shoulder. But the issue is to not put him in that situation to where you protect him with the offensive line, you protect him, though, with the weapons, and you protect him with the running game. That's everybody around. It's easier for Mahomes to protect. He wouldn't have had to do as much running and put his body on the line as much this year if the weapons and the running game was better.
No, absolutely. And we talked about last night on Sound Off and that he runs too much, and some of the time it's his own fault. Maybe he's seeing ghosts. Maybe he's more comfortable, moving right out of the pocket. I like throwing on the run. I'm more of a point guard. I can see the field on the move rather than just standing back there. But then a lot of times it's by necessity in that there's been some sort of pocket breakdown or collapse, or guys just aren't getting open, and he's having to stay back there too long. So I think it's a 50-50 proposition there. His fault and the other teams. But yeah, it's going to be something. I mean, he was on the move last year when he got hurt. It wasn't a in the pocket injury. And look, you can get injured anywhere in the game. But I think you make a great point. He is always going to err on the side of making the play. I can think of maybe a few business decisions he's made over the last couple years, but early on, that was the best thing about him, right? You would think he's running out of bounds, and no, he's going to throw it across his body 30 yards in the air and make a play. And that's what you love about Patrick Mahomes. And maybe he does make a few more business decisions down the stretch here and maybe the back half of his career, but that's keeping stuff alive and being a football player is what makes him great. It's brought him titles. I mean, there's a touchdown run that first 49ers Super Bowl that he put his body on the line for. And
he had 2 big runs in that overtime. On the 4th down fake, he picked up the run, and then when he scrambled up the middle.
How many the Eagles quarterbacks would have run out of bounds on that AFC Championship game against the Titans?
The same thing, yeah.
Scoring a touchdown on. Probably 31 of 32 starters in the NFL. He stays alive.
I'll say 30. I think Baker may have also done that.
Baker, yeah. Okay,
I don't think Baker's getting there, but I think Baker would have tried.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I appreciate that about him, and I know it puts his body at more risk, but I mean, he's great and a gamer, all in the same package, and so you'll take that.
Well, that's what makes the all-timers.
It is.
There's guys that have the want to. Baker Mayfield has the want to, and he's talented. Right.
You think Patrick Mahomes is getting on that fumble in the Super Bowl that Cam Newton saw on the ground?
But
I think he is.
And that's also my point.
He probably gets it.
That's also my point. Cam Newton, extremely talented, but did he have that sort of next level? That's what makes Tom Brady Tom Brady. Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and then Patrick. I mean, there's only a handful of guys throughout history because so many guys have the talent and they never do maybe as much as they should with it. And it's all sports. I mean, I always hate to like John Daly in golf. Or you've heard about, was it Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady in basketball? where they could have been Kobe, but Kobe had that extra level that made him Kobe and separate himself.
I'll give you one that's going on, right now. Of course, not right now because the Jayhawks team won. But you take a LeBron or Steph or Kobe and you put that into Michael Beasley.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
What is Michael Beasley in the NBA if you've got that? I mean, he was as talented as anybody that came across in college.
And that's what Patrick has, though. Patrick has that. Again, you can have the want to.
Yeah.
You can have it, but you also have to have the immense amount of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so many guys like a Jerry Rice has the work ethic too, right? He was always talented, had work ethic. But I think what we're talking about here is maybe a third element of not giving up on a play. This is what we have to do to win.
Got that
not
dog
just
in
like
him.
What's that? Yeah,
Got that dog in him.
They did an X-ray of his chest, and there was a dog
it's
in
in there.
Crazy,
barking away.
It's weird. You'd think that would be unhealthy.
So he wasn't out there today. Just the other three quarterbacks, but that makes sense.
Clearly, he doesn't want that
It
much.
was just a day off.
So have you
he practiced twice and needed a day off?
Really?
Okay.
And he gets tomorrow off?
Okay,
Anyway?
question.
We think he's going to be ready for the season, and he only practiced twice? Come on.
Did you see the video of the main three quarterbacks throwing Nussmeier, Fields, and Patrick?
I shot video today. You want to see it right here?
Okay. Show me Nussmeier.
Are you talking about it today, or are you talking about it over the weekend?
Well, I think it was on Sunday.
Okay,
I don't
then
know. I was driving. I've been
here's
gone.
the video right here of all three.
Because there's one of Nussmeier where it looks like he has an absolute cannon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of video of him in college throwing the ball
saw
too.
him.
So
I mean,
I don't think you need video
to all regular humans. He does have an absolute cannon.
Yeah.
Olodokun has an absolute cannon.
No, I mean,
compared to us.
as quick as the release was, it looked noticeably. I couldn't tell if the video was.
I think they sped the video up.
Right? That's what it had to have been.
Or they cut it.
But it was
a
the
quick
Chiefs.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it was the Chiefs.
you mean they showed the ball in the air, but they cut it to like a Mahomes throw?
No, like your motion when it leaves your hands.
Yeah.
They showed Patrick. You're like, wow, that's Patrick. Then you see Justin Fields, like that's an NFL quarterback, and all of a sudden you saw Garrett Nussmeier. You're like, hold on, wait a minute. There has to be something here.
You think they sped it up for Garrett Nussmeier?
It looked like
was it a Chiefs video?
It was a Kansas City Chiefs
All right,
account.
I gotta look it up.
And that's why I was
on
like,
Twitter or Facebook?
Twitter.
Okay.
And
that's sometimes Facebook might be the.
No, I know, but like they had
real Chiefs fans. Did you see it on that account?
I saw it on the
If
real.
so, it's probably our video they took.
I saw it. It was the real Mick Schaefer
All right,
fan.
here's all three of them throwing right now today.
It's ladies and gentlemen, your QB room on the Chiefs
Here's
Twitter. That's
Nussmeier.
the post.
Okay.
Well, that was a slow little toss.
That was a
to
little
so.
coach toss.
Oh my God! Yes, that's sped up. Are you
Right,
kidding me?
that has
It's
to
a
be.
jump cut.
That has to. But
Did you
why
see
did
it?
the Chiefs
No, I
account?
haven't seen it. Let me see it.
This
All
is
right.
amazing. Why did the Chiefs do this?
I'll show you after this one plays. All right, there you go. Now look at it. It's Mahomes and then Justin
There's
Fields.
Logan. There's Mahomes. There's Fields. Jesus.
Obviously,
really asked that real question.
It's a jump cut.
Yeah, it took frames of video. I like half.
Well,
a second.
why'd they do that?
I don't know.
Why they try to
it might
get
have
me
glitched.
excited about Garrett
Why are you
Nussmeier?
pretending to be a logical person and
No,
asking that
he's
question?
got a
Did that really
cannon.
happen?
Guys,
He's got a cannon, guys.
I told you.
See how quickly he went
best,
from.
best case scenario for the Chiefs.
Why'd you go on draft?
Garrett Nussmeier turns into. He was drafted.
The
second round.
quickest
late, I
release
guess
I've
so, yeah.
ever seen from a quarterback. My goodness, man! It's almost like there was a.
I thought you guys
middle
get the
part
bit
that-
of all the people on Twitter talking about this.
Well, honestly, so
This looks sped up. He's so fast.
earlier in the season, in the off season, they had a real time of Patrick Mahomes dropping back, and they clearly slow mo
Yes.
his release. And I wrote like, really let the drop back, but just that release looks really slow. And about 25% of the people
Oh,
were
my
like,
God.
"Oh, really, man? He's just coming off injury. You guys,
you
judging
haters.
him, you're hating him in the off season." I'm like, man, I can't joke online.
Jeff,
You should
Jeff
do the
Pass.
whoosh.
And Sterling was one of them,
Yes.
apparently.
No, two of them.
Or there's the flip
I did
side.
too.
There's the
You
flip side of that.
responded
Nick.
to me twice.
Of course
about
you
it.
did. Yeah, of course you did. There's a flip side of that, and Jeff Passan last night tweeted out, this is what it looks like when you throw 60 pitches all at 100 miles an hour or more with Mizorowski, and it was like the stat cast, and it was just scrolling down all the pitches. Somebody replied and said, "This is just a slow scroll that looks nothing like him pitching the ball." Like, you know what? I appreciate you saying that, man. That's fun. I did not
Hopefully
read the
that
comments
was,
to
yeah,
that
a joke.
That was the joke with him. It's like, Jeff, this is not what it looks like for a guy throwing 100 miles an
This
hour
looks like
60
you
times.
scrolling
Just
down,
looks like you're
yeah.
scrolling down and looking at different,
Feels like a Mick
numbers.
Schaefer joke.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was
At a
little
higher
bit like
level,
that.
yeah.
That was a lower level of a Mick Schaefer.
I
joke.
missed you last week, Mick.
That makes one
You're
of
the
us.
one.
I didn't see you. Yeah, Jason apparently didn't miss you. Wednesday and Friday. Yeah.
I was here.
Was it better without me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
figured.
know that. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fine.
And nothing's changed.
Nope. Nope. We didn't.
Well,
forget
we
about
missed
draft.
Jason. You were gone Monday.
I was gone Monday and Wednesday. Yeah, I didn't do Rotten Tomatoes either.
Oh, that's right. We
yes.
had.
We ended very abruptly.
Michael had
on
to. You
Rotten
did a good
Tomatoes.
job, at least in my hour, Michael.
What happened? I heard the beginning of Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, we kind of Deebs doesn't do this consistently, and so we had to make sure our out time was okay. So we got to a point where Mick and Deebs were tied on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, all right, well, that's all we got for this segment, so we just had to throw it to break.
Wow.
So we have an undecided winner of Rotten Tomatoes.
I feel like we need a tiebreaker next.
I'll do it
like
right
48 hours.
right now.
No, you don't need to do it right now. I'm just saying in 48 hours we can do that.
I like winners.
Have
I did this
Deebs
in
in there.
soccer where we have to
I like
wait.
winners. All right, I want winners.
What's fun? We can make fun of soccer again. Like we're now allowed to.
fight you.
We're back at it. Is that right? Well, our local teams are not doing well. At least they didn't have a good weekend.
The world's best club though in town. So,
who's the world's best club?
The Current.
Why are they the world's best club?
Well, that's what they name themselves.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
The world's best club.
Well, they should be better than sixth in the standings. Then.
Well, I mean they're getting there. You know,
the world's sixth best club in.
Well, they're injured,
WSL.
right?
Yeah.
They're a very different team.
Oh,
when
so
they-
you're making them
when they're
excuses, but
healthy.
not the Royals,
Right. Well, the Royals were trashier when everybody was healthy.
I was going to say they were Royals were healthy and they were bad.
When Timwa and Cooper are
Yes.
both out, that goes from the best team in the world to middle of the road in
roughly
WSL.
sixth, right around there. It's rough for them to be able to overcome that. Mick Schaefer's hanging out with us. Let's get into a little Learn Funniest Best. We'll do that on the other side of the break. More Zone coming up next. program takes over at 2. Little best stuff coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, and then pregame for TBT with the Jayhawks taking on Wichita State. Pregame 7:45. That tip coming up at 8 o'clock. Now it's a winner take all. Now that they are in the round of 16, correct?
At a group stage.
Yes, that's right. They're at a group stage after.
I
the 2 out of
learned
3.
things from soccer. Who was offside though?
D Ford.
Okay.
Sorry about that. But let's get into a little learn funniest best here from the weekend. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and the best from the weekend. So what I learned from the weekend is, so this, nature being unbelievable in the way that it is, tigers look orange to humans because we're trichromats, but they appear green
You're a trichromat.
Thank
Don't
you.
call names.
Gray to deer and wild boars because they're dichromats. So what the deer see is the tiger and the leaves and the grass as the same exact color.
So they're colorblind? Is that what dichromat means?
They just don't see that particular color orange. And
But
same
wait, good for the tiger, bad for the deer.
Exactly,
Wait,
bad for
tigers
the deer.
though are
But
black and gold.
But we see that's funny. But we see
yellow.
We see the orange, which also helps with deer hunting. That if you can wear those orange
why you
vests,
wear
the
orange,
deer
yes.
don't see the orange. It blends in with the
Is
trees.
that actually, that's why you wear orange?
Well, also not
Are
to
you
get
for
shot.
real? Yes, don't get shot. Because people see it easily.
Yes, people
Deers don't see it.
but deer don't see it.
I didn't know deers couldn't see. I didn't know they were.
Yeah, that's why you wear
That's
it.
not why they wear orange, though.
Well, no,
That has nothing to
well, it's
do
because they
with
have cataracts.
The deer?
The deers do.
You wear a
They
color.
have deerorax.
You wear the color that
Not
other
cataract.
people with guns can see.
Yes.
And the prey cannot.
So I shouldn't wear all camo.
No, you can't.
No, if you want to, that'd be fine. If you want to dress up like that and do that, I mean,
Just don't wear a deer costume.
Yeah, just don't be surprised if you get shot by me wearing my orange.
don't wear a deer costume, guys. I thought it would be funny to come out in my my Halloween deer costume.
Deers can't see me.
Deers can't see me because they're going to actually come up and then I can
An
close
orange
range.
deer costume.
Why shoot from way over there when I can just hand-to-hand combat this thing?
An orange deer costume. Now we're cooking.
Yeah. So
That's
that's right. So then nobody would shoot you, but the deer would say, "Well, that looks like a deer over there. Looks just like us." So that's what I learned is that nature has taken its course. That's an unfair advantage for the Tigers, though. It's like having Tariq Skubal out on the mound against the Royals.
It's like having a
It's an
Mom Hardy.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, they blend in. So there you go.
They say that zebras are actually yellow and black, but our eyes just adjust to show it white and black.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody had a picture of this is what zebras look like to tigers, and the stripes were Oreos. Like, yeah, that makes sense. What'd you learn from the weekend, Sterling?
I was heading down to Buffalo Trace Distillery. Delicious. I love going down there. Found out there's a town in Kentucky called Nonesuch. So where are you from? Nonesuch Town.
Nice.
I learned that. I thought it was kind of a funny town name.
So there is none such town?
None such town. So
How's
where are
this
you
spelled?
from? None such.
N-U-N?
How is it spelled?
S-U-C-H?
Nonesuch.
Non-such.
So it's one word or two?
One word. None such
I
town.
think that's non-such.
Which is even
None
dumber.
such would be
That's
N-U-N.
named after its ability to maintain and grow great crops. So apparently they named it for there's no such place that grew so well.
So hold on, is it N-O-N or N-O-N-E?
N-O-N-E.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
Like literally none
Yeah,
such.
N-O-N-E. Yep, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
apparently
if there
it's
wasn't an
named
E, that's why I thought it
because
was
none
non-such.
such town grows such great crops, apparently.
Okay.
So
I didn't hear the E part.
yeah,
So there you go.
Welcome.
Thank you. I
There's
appreciate it.
there's a Tightwad, Missouri. When you go on the lake.
Yeah, Tightwad.
And there's
That's
a
what I'm
bank
looking
at
for.
Sterling.
Yeah,
You
there's a
can-
bank there, Tightwad.
It's called Tightwad Bank. You can put your money into Tightwad Bank.
I know a few
Didn't
people
it
at
close?
Tightwad, Missouri.
I think it closed last time I drove by.
The town or the bank?
The bank.
Okay,
And then-
maybe.
The town closed down because they didn't want to pay anything. They just hoarded all their money, not paying a thing. It's not a town anymore. A bunch of tightwads there. Yeah, there is that town. So none such. None
Learned
such
about it.
Kentucky.
So there's
Good
a
for
lot
you.
of crazy things. In
Good for you,
Kentucky.
man. How was the bourbon?
Amazing. Big fan.
Big fan of bourbon, are you?
Shocked. I know.
Yeah.
I go there about once a year. and-
Hold on. Who won? And maybe this is your funniest or best. I don't know, but who won the obstacle course?
I saw highlights.
Who won the
You
obstacle
saw
course?
some highlights.
Unless this is your funniest or best, I
He
don't
hasn't
want to.
brought it up yet, so he didn't win.
That's true.
Well, I won basketball 3-on-3.
Well.
Took down the 6'10" cousin. Took him
Okay.
down, baby.
So it was 1-on-1 or 3-on-3?
3-on-3.
Oh,
okay, so you guarded him.
No.
Okay.
Oh, but he took him down.
No, the 6'11" cousin guarded him.
No, the 6'5" cousin had a guard.
Okay, that's good.
They're brothers with the Jersey cousins.
There's a 6'5" and a 6'10" cousin?
Yeah, and then there's like a 6'4". Yeah, there's a lot. We have some. And then
What happened?
They
to
were
you?
all on the same team?
No, we separated
Okay,
teams.
that's good.
Yeah,
What happened to you?
It was the Jersey cousins can't be. No, I'm also tall though for my mom's side because then there's a whole bunch of like 5'8" ones.
Okay.
It's great. There's big height differentials there.
It's too bad.
No, we got screwed in the obstacle course. We got screwed. We did the tires.
Yeah.
Then we had to do hurdles. Which, by the way, when was the last time you did a hurdle?
Oh,
high school.
Yeah.
Right,
I don't even know if I've
never?
ever. I don't think I've ever
yeah.
actually. Yes, Michael, I'm with. I don't think I've ever jumped over a hurdle on a track.
Let me tell you, we didn't have a track. It's grass. Terrifying, because they're not real hurdles that we set. We set up like hard wood. It's like they're like workbenches that we set up. They had to hurdle over.
So they don't give?
There's no give.
I feel like maybe don't do that.
No. Well, we've had people like break fingers and ribs before. But it's kind of fun. So then you have to do that, then throw logs over like a sawhorse type situation. Then you run and you get sprayed with water, and then you have to push a kid, and, like you're bowling kids.
So you're just bowling a kid?
Basically,
just rolling a kid down a hole?
Yeah, family does this. Yeah, so if we switch up the
Is there an ambulance on site, or do you have to call them after?
No, their parents are there. This is Southern Indiana. They're fine. This is what we all did. It's
rub some dirt on it.
You rub some dirt on it, you'll be okay. And so you have to basically bowl a kid into a ball, and then you have to win rock paper scissors, and the next person goes. And it's electric. It's
Actually
fun.
bowl the kid into rock, paper, and scissors.
Yeah, and hopefully it's paper.
At what age are you not bowlable anymore?
Yeah, probably about like 5.
Okay.
So you're rolling 4-year-olds.
How many people are at this reunion?
About 150.
Are there any police or CPS?
Yeah,
Anybody
there's some probably police. Yeah.
Oh, just in the family. I
Just
didn't know if
the
maybe
family,
they were there
no,
just to
no.
arrest some people for child abuse.
Well, no, it's
the
not.
kids are up for it.
They like it. They
throwing them.
you're
The kids like it.
rolling them. They do. And then sometimes one year you put them in a wheelbarrow and you bounce around.
See, I'm picturing you put them in a tire, and then you roll the tire
So we
down
thought
down the hill.
we thought that might be a little too much.
It's concussion city for you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So. Yeah, family reunions.
So just rolling them lengthwise,
are enjoyable.
not like
yeah, he's kind
height-wise.
of
yeah.
he's kind
I
of.
don't like doing that. Just laying on the grass side to side and rolling them that way. That's not fun.
No, I know, and the kids like
Gotta
it.
roll them like a ball. That's more like a log.
They clamor for it. Everyone wants to be the one that gets bowled.
Okay, sure.
Put them in like one of those glass hamster balls. And
Yeah.
just roll them.
Now that's a better idea. Now we got next year figured out.
So since you cost your team the obstacle course,
I
who do you
didn't,
blame?
okay.
Who do you blame?
Christian's girlfriend.
Christian's
Come
girlfriend,
on.
Every time. What is she there for anyway? It's a girlfriend. She's not family.
It's not.
Maybe put a ring on it, then she can show up.
Christian, you hear that?
Yeah. Is he from here or?
No, he's in Jersey.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, he won't hear that.
Yeah, you just bring any girl to reunions if you're from Jersey. Mick, what'd you learn from this weekend?
I learned all about his family, Sterling's clan.
Sterling's clan. That's
There's
right.
a lot. The Guthrie side is huge.
It's the Guthrie clan. Yep.
I learned
like
about
the Hatfields and McCoys.
I learned about Andrew Armstrong. He's a guy on the Chiefs right now, number 85. He went to Arkansas and has his dad and all his family lives in Kansas City. I just learned that today.
No kidding.
So there you go. He said he's been coming to Kansas City his whole life. Always been a Chiefs fan.
But he didn't go to school here.
From Texas.
So
went to like Texas A&M Commerce, then Arkansas, then the Dolphins, Lions, now to Kansas City.
That's crazy.
That's all I know.
That's pretty cool. So
Cheer
whole
for him to
family-
make the roster.
Yes.
He won't.
What position is he?
Wide receiver.
Oh, well, you know what? There's an opening there. They need a
And he's not a
sixth.
he's not a brand new UDFA. He's been in the league a year or two,
Yeah.
bouncing around. So there you go.
Yeah, well,
That's it.
You know what? That's a cool story
for him.
I like
He's got
that.
family here.
Yes, absolutely. The Armstrong family. You know, hey, hopefully your
Which is
son,
funny
your
'cause their
brother-
legs are what
Hands
really
are strong too.
Yeah, that's right. Both were trying to get there. Michael, I don't think either of you got there, but Michael, what'd you learn?
Did you catch last week's LFB? Like any of the beginning of it?
No, I didn't.
So-
I was going to listen, then I just enjoyed my vacation.
Essentially, last week I learned that I made a very expensive mistake. I
Okay.
was hanging soundproofing in my podcast studio, and I used magnets and adhesive. The adhesive did not stick to the foam, and it tore my like the drywall off my ceiling. So that was the expensive mistake I learned last week. But I actually learned in fixing that problem this week that if you take like poster board that you can buy at like Walmart and spray adhesive, you can just put the sound foam on the board and then use command strips to the wall.
The command strips work.
I figured it out,
Oh my
but
God.
I got to fix the ceiling. So that was my learn.
Oh man, you tore the drywall off by trying to build a podcast. Usually people work on the walls.
Well, we put it on
a podcast studio.
So we put it on the walls and on the ceiling, and
I don't think you need it on the ceiling.
Well, it's because I mean, look at the ceiling here. I mean, there's some. I guess
No,
there's not
nope,
really.
there's not.
But essentially,
Nope. It should, wherever you're talking into the sound, that should kill it enough, I would think.
it could bounce off walls. Sound
Not
goes
if it
everywhere.
goes into the soundproofing.
But if you,
that's the point of it hitting the soundproofing, is that it doesn't bounce.
we put it on the walls, and then I leave to come to the station, come back from the station, it's all off the walls. It's on the floor, and there's just holes in the ceiling. So,
what happened?
What happened?
So Drew Tranquil walked into your podcast studio.
Seriously.
What happened? Let's go to the funniest from the weekend. Sterling, what was the funniest for you from the weekend?
This wasn't really the weekend. This was the weekend prior-ish, but I forgot about it, and nothing really funny happened when I was down there, or at least nothing funny. Oh, okay, yeah, this was funny. I'll do it this past weekend.
Great.
You've been to your grandparents' house before, right? Like we all have, like most of us have been to grandparents' houses. They has like random things like dolls or like things that they collected from like 50 years ago that they for some reason kept. Well, my grandma decided to keep the scariest doll I've ever seen in my life. It's called a Daddy's Long Legs. It's like a wooden pig person combination.
Like a minotaur, but with a pig.
But way more terrifying than I could even describe.
Okay.
Just horrific. It is something out of a scary movie that comes to life and you don't want. And so my cousin just had a kid, and so I wrapped it in gift wrap and said, "This is going to be your baby shower gift. This is for your new child." And he opened it, and I have a video, and it is terrifying. We gave it to the kid immediately. Kid immediately started crying.
Then you rolled him down a hill.
Thought he was gonna have the kid.
They just had what they had.
Okay,
They just had it. But I hadn't seen him since there. And then he goes,
was the kid old enough to be terrified by it?
No,
or-
the kid was like 6 weeks old.
Okay.
And
So it probably didn't get many things when you rolled it down the hill?
no, the kid
Probably didn't.
But
that was a
that's the
wrong
throw.
choice.
That's the lightest kid there.
That was a wrong
you
choice to
could
roll.
chuck
You don't
that
get as
kid.
much. You don't get as much coverage there.
So I apparently terrified that kid. Immediately started crying.
You just said he wasn't old enough to know.
I know,
He
and
should be
he's- but
terrified.
still-
and now you're saying he was terrified.
It still started crying.
And then you said the kid wasn't born at first.
No,
but
it's 6
now
weeks
he is.
old.
Okay.
I have a video.
I
I'll show you.
believe every second of this
No,
story.
you know
By
what?
the way.
Fine. I'll show you the video.
Oh no, I believe you. Seriously,
yeah,
please,
totally.
I don't need
Yep.
to see
No,
it.
that
Yeah,
makes
good.
total
Yeah.
sense. All the sense in the world.
So scaring people, basically.
No, it makes
Should
sense.
have given it like a 5-year-old. That's it. You give it to.
Yeah.
Apparently, you have a lot of those there.
There's a lot of those.
Those
Yeah.
kids that's still trying to walk around after being rolled down a hill. The funniest for you from the weekend, Mick?
So there's a guy on TikTok that apparently catches fish, and before he throws them back in, he shows them videos of famous sports plays. This is him showing OG's tip in the NBA Finals, and then he throws it back in. He's like, "All done." Now that's funny.
That's pretty good. I like that one. That's really good. That's
really good.
What video is he going to show this fish? Funniest from the weekend for you, Michael?
So I got a couple things. I don't know if
Okay.
you saw in New England, the reporters were asking Mac Hollins about his biggest, I guess, difference from year 1 to year 2 in New England, and he said that now restaurants let him walk in barefoot.
Without shoes, yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
And
yeah.
then, I don't know, did you guys see what Bill Simmons had to say about Caleb Wilson?
No.
Oh, I saw that.
Okay,
yes.
I'll
Yep,
just leave
yep,
it at
I
that.
saw that.
I'll
yeah.
just leave it
We'll
at
tell
that.
him.
Two of my favorite people.
We'll say it in the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll say it in the break what that was.
Sticky situation.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
What happened?
No, we'll tell you in the break.
I don't know either.
I'll tell you in the break. My funniest from the weekend happened this morning, and that is, I mean, this whole North Carolina thing. We knew it was going to be so successful with Bill Belichick, but Michael Lombardi, UNC's GM, has been placed on paid administrative leave per a source. It stems from a human resources complaint filed by a former UNC front office employee pending investigation, which led to the administrative leave. In addition to Mike Lombardi's HR matter, the University of North Carolina is now also being investigated by the CSC, the College Sports Commission, the entity which handles compliance and enforcement of NCAA and NIL rules. So that's my funniest from the weekend. Just a couple of years into Bill Belichick, his GM is being placed on administrative leave for some human resources, which then North Carolina said this does not impact the merit of Michael Lombardi. I don't know how you place somebody on the old place on administrative leave for a human resources complaint that has nothing to do with the merit of Mike Lombardi, while also being investigated by the CSC for NIL and NCAA compliance issues there at North Carolina with Michael Lombardi. So there you go. I thought that was really going to work. They were doing it different.
They were doing it different. They have.
It's not. They're doing it not like everybody else did it in the past. They're doing it different, where apparently they're breaking the rules while the rules are saying you can go in the front door. I mean,
that's actually impressive.
Ed O said you can go in the
rules?
front door. You don't have to go in the back door anymore. You can go right in the front door, and they still broke the rules. Unbelievable.
You think their classes are real now, or you think they're still fake?
I don't think they're real. Probably.
It's not going to alter the merits of.
I don't think
classes.
Bill Belichick's worried about his kids going to class. I don't think Michael Lombardi is worried about his kids going to class. I'm just going to say that.
Does he have to pick his girlfriend up from class?
Is that the human resources complaint?
Yes.
Is from Belichick's girlfriend? Because Lombardi kept getting Belichick at work, and she's like, enough with this guy. Enough of this guy.
Get rid of him.
I'm tired of him. It's all about Michael. It's all about Mr. Lombardi in your life. You know, I'm the real number one. What was the best from the weekend for you, Mick?
Salvi, baby. I'll take it back to Thursday. Or that was Wednesday when he tied it?
Wednesday.
So Wednesday, the getaway day game, because they had the wrap-around the 4-game series. And I was the only one in for sports on Wednesday, and I was in a meeting with my news director when another reporter barged in and said, Salvi just hit it. I was like, well, this meeting's over. I guess I've got to go grab the camera and run out there. It was really cool to be out there. It was, he hit in the 7th inning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got out there.
You got there in time?
In time. Bottom 8th or top 9,
nice.
and then set up. And what a great interview with Q and being in there with Salvi as well, and then seeing him from afar do it on Saturday. To get to 318, and we're going to just be out. Every home run he hits from here on out is going to be a new record, Sterling.
That's right.
So they'll run out there then, too.
Every single time.
328. He said it. He's got the new record.
He broke Salvi's
two
record.
in a game. If it's 2 in a game, you have to do it 1 during the game and 1 after the next one.
He had another at-bat on Wednesday, and I texted Sam Mellinger. I was like, I don't know if you can control this, but tell him to hit another homer right now. This is just take care of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
He didn't tell him.
Either maybe Sam doesn't control, or Sam just forgot to tell him.
He probably just maybe he forgot about it. That's a possibility of him doing that. Yeah, you think every home run at home now he comes out to like a curtain call because he breaks the record, and it puts up on the big screen. Salvador Perez, home run 324, has just broken Salvador Perez's home run record of 323.
When's the next milestone?
350.
350, or will they do 325?
No, 319. We just said it. The next home run.
I was trying to.
I don't think. I don't think he's
does he get to 350?
I think he's going to play long enough to get to 400.
No, he's not. I don't know. Is he getting to 350? It's 30 more home runs.
That'd be
32.
Another year plus, maybe. Would he?
30-ish.
Will he get? Will he get to 2,000 hits? I wanted to say he was like, is he like 1750 or something like that, or 1800?
He'll need to play 2 more years after that.
I think 1800.
He's at 1792.
So 2 more seasons to get that.
200.
Well, how many more will he get this year?
Well, that's a good point.
50 more.
He has 80 so far, so maybe he gets 40 more.
40 more.
120.
So
he's going to need 180.
He'll
need about a 190
once in more than one every game.
180. If he gets 175.
But next year, if he can get to 350 in 2,000.
Well,
I mean, 350 home
year.
runs, but I'm saying, around there.
I've always wanted him, to get to 2,000. You have 300 homers and 2,000 hits and everything else that's coming. He's won every award in baseball. I don't think you can keep him out.
He had 160 hits in 24.
Yeah, it's some big.
But I don't think he's going
seasons.
to play as much next year.
No, he's going to have 2 hits every game because he's only playing like 90 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got 80
so
and
we're
99
saying
games
there's a
right
chance.
Now. Yeah, there's a chance.
I think he's going to play next year. It's going to be. My whole deal is like he's got to build up his WAR past 40. But now I feel like
going backwards.
It's going the wrong way.
It's at 35.2
and so
now.
is the
it's at
average
35.8
and
when
the
the
on
season
base
started.
and everything. It's like, okay, now my case was to build your case for the Hall. Now you're hurting it. So.
WAR. What is it good for?
Well,
for him,
Hall
not
of Fame.
keeping him out
this
of Hall of
year.
Fame right now.
That's right. Michael, best from the weekend?
The best. I finally watched Obsession. Oh, it is
so did I
good.
Saturday night.
Saturday night. It was fantastic. It's like a 94, so hopefully don't pick it.
So,
Rotten Tomatoes,
What's Obsession?
It's
It's
a horror
the
movie.
latest. Who made it? Somebody
No
made
idea.
it. Yeah,
Some
guy. So my daughter had already told me literally every scene, play by play,
That's
was going to
horrible.
happen. she's not fully aware of the spoiler alert, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't seek out horror films. I like them just fine. I think they're fun sometimes. Look through your fingers, but I don't seek them out. So I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. Saturday night at my in-laws, they're like, we're playing Obsession. I was like, well, this isn't scary to me at all because I know everything that's happened, and I did, but it was still pretty good.
It's more thriller than it is horror.
Yeah, there's not many jump scares.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I would
like
say
that.
it was a movie that you kind of anticipated what was going to happen, and yet when it happened, you were still left in awe by how it took it to the next level.
It
did accelerate quickly there at the end.
It's like an uncomfortable.
Have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
You've seen Obsession too?
You've seen
yeah.
a movie that Jason hasn't?
That's crazy.
Ball knower.
Yes. Audience reviews, a couple of these,
Certain
by the way.
kinds.
I pulled it up real quick, so don't use it for Rotten Tomatoes because I have it right in front of me. I love this. Audience reviews, 4.5 stars. They beat a dead horse with the cat thing. Don't tell me about that.
Wow, that was.
How about? But here's one thing though. Here's another one. This is great.
Feel bad for the cat.
This is where you get the what's the complaint here? 4.5 stars. Not worth all the hype it got.
Yeah.
4.5 stars. What was it going to be? 5 stars if it was worth all the hype? Like it's under like. Again,
It's only 90. It's only 90, and we thought it'd be 94.
It was
so.
worth the hype. It was worth it.
Right, but it's like not worth all the hype it got.
It
4.5
was
stars.
It was a.
But what's 4.5 stars? That's damn near 90%.
That is 90%.
There you go.
Well, 4.5
94.
out of 5.
5.
Yeah.
I will be looking for
That's
a
exactly
one-wish
90%.
Willow in all stores, and I will be responsible with my wish.
And you'll try to win your.
I would do what the guy did.
$1
$1
million. It'll be what the second guy wished.
Yeah,
for.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
He did not get to enjoy that very long.
No, he didn't.
I don't want to know.
Also, why did he go back to the house? Like,
What are
he
we
knows-
talking about?
Yeah,
Stop.
that's what I
You're,
don't
you're
get.
giving spoiler alerts
Like,
way
he-
too early in this
no,
thing.
but no, hear me
You're
out.
my daughter in a lot of ways.
No,
You
it's
do
way too
selfies all
Sterling,
the
it's
time
way too early
online,
right now.
And you're in spoiler alerts.
Hear me
Way
out,
too
but
early
like-
right
but
now.
like,
There's an embargo on this.
He clearly
We get it.
understands
We get it. Yeah.
what it does.
Right.
Why
Okay.
did he go back to the house?
Because he wanted to. It was his choice. It's free will. That's why.
Right?
All right. It's free willy wishes. Okay.
Like,
One
you
wish
should believe
Willows.
him now.
Should.
There you go.
And also, the cat, it would smell.
Yeah, sure. My best from the weekend was the fact that I, Michael, crossed the finish line in the triathlon.
I was curious. I was
You
curious.
tell me about this last
That's
night.
my
before.
best from the weekend.
I heard they were cleaning up the race. All the workers were going home by the time you
They
finished.
were in-
Oh, we got one more.
They
we got
were-
one more.
They were
How
in the
was
lake.
the swimming?
was brutal. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was worse than I thought it would be.
What was your?
No, it was
But
worse
the
than I thought.
swimming part or all
The
of
swimming
it?
part was worse than I thought.
What was
the
your-
biking thing was awesome.
Yeah, the biking I
the
feel like it's the
biking
easiest.
thing.
The biking thing was great. No, the biking thing.
What was your swim stroke most of the time?
Back-
Freestyle, little doggy paddle. What?
Float on the back
Float on the
and
back.
slowly.
Oh,
with-
you did do backstroke?
Well, I don't know how to do the backstroke. It's sort of like a half backstroke.
Okay.
It's sort of like there's an angel in the outfield. You know, it's one of those things
Were
while
you
kicking.
just sore or doing it or what? What?
Dude, I got in the water and about 50 meters in, I got a cramp in my right side, and I was like,
had you eaten 45 minutes prior?
no.
Okay, good.
Did you have a banana?
Like, no, it was like 3 hours before. I followed all of the things online that said how to ruin a triathlon. But luckily they had the kayaks
He had a
and,
bucket of chicken. He was
and all of the different people that were there to help. So I would swim from like one person and then stop and hold my arm over them and then swim to the next person. They're like, "You're not cramping, are you? Because if you're cramping, we've got to take you back in." I'm like, I'm finishing this so I can then finish the race. So
I
I'm
would
going to
have
get
died
there.
in that lake.
Well, no, there were a lot of people they
There's
would have
people
just
there to save
they
you.
would have just taken you back in, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to finish this. So then I got done. Everybody had already moved on, so there were nobody at the lake anymore watching or anything. So I got out of the lake by myself, went and got my bike, the last one there, and then I hit the bike and I made up time on the bike. That was fun. That was fun. I was
it
killing
was
on the bike.
500-yard swim. Was it basically
500 meter. We only use yards
Sorry
when
about
it
that,
comes
yes.
to metric system when we run races.
What's meters
Nobody knows.
longer?
Nobody knows.
a little bit longer?
Nobody knows. And then 11-mile bike ride, and then
Yeah.
a 5K.
400 meters is 440 yards.
Yeah. So and then a 5K. So 11-mile bike ride and then a 5K.
So you
Impressive.
Was it just kind of across? They found a point in the lake. You just went straight across it, or
It was
what?
like a triangle. You went a little bit like to your
Oh.
10 o'clock, and then straight over,
come back to
and
where
then-
you
and
started.
right back to where you
What
started.
lake?
Your triangle. Yeah.
Smithville.
Smithville Lake.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was brutal, and I've learned that, you know what, if I do one of these again, which I'm going to get swim lessons and figure out how people swim distances. I'm going to do that
I
because
do
the
water
biking,
wings.
the biking and the running, I was okay with
Smart.
it. The biking was fun. Like,
Did
I really.
anybody have one of those like floaty stools and like a bush light?
That's what I was thinking.
That'd be sterling.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there. It's like it's like a lazy river action.
Yes. No, but like the guy was holding on at the canoe to rest to try to get this cramp out. He was like, I can't move. He's like, so I can't go anywhere because you can't advance further with holding on to this. And I'm like, what if I give you this $10 bill?
What if I'm like Diana Nyad?
Yes.
Can I just hold on to
Right.
this boat and pretend that I got
But
the
also, I
record?
want to give a shout out to. So a guy comes up to me and he was like, "I just want to tell you that I'm really proud that I matched up your number." He's like, "My grandson, does a lot of these," and I'm like, "Oh, is he pretty good?" He goes, "I won it last year." And Grayson Masterson, 16-year-old, won it again. 16 years old, goes to Eudora, and now he's heading to like nationals in Ohio or something.
Wow.
So 16-year-old won the whole thing again. So finished first out of 230. And first out of 128 males, 16-year-old Grayson.
59 minutes,
like
right?
an hour.
59 minutes. He did it in an hour.
And so he did.
Yeah.
Okay, he did. You said there was like a half and there was a full.
So there's the
people, right?
longer triathlon and then there's the short course. So he did the short course, which was the same one I did in 2 hours and something, and he did it in 59 minutes.
You could have done it twice.
Yeah, but he could have done it twice, yes, and he still would have beat me. But shout out to him, man. 16-year-old. Going to have to keep an eye on him when it comes to the Olympics since he's killing it like this and going to nationals right at Eudora. E-Town, as Ken Swanson called it. Best?
Keen Trace champions, where they played the Barbasol. They played there forever, played that course, and wow, electric. That was a really fun golf course.